movies and games and TV shows, the Cinemaniacs Podcast. Welcome, one and all, to the brand new Cinemaniacs Podcast. I'm Maceo.
I'm Matthew.
And we are the Cinemaniacs. We're very excited today because we're going to be talking about movies, games, and TV shows. And that's how it's going to be like every time on this show. You come back, we're going to be talking about movies, games, and TV shows.
You betcha.
You betcha. So today we just have a bunch of news on everything. We got news on Marvel, DC, movies, video games coming out. We got some Mario Kart news.
We got it all.
We got it all.
We got it all here.
So, before we get started here, I wanted to talk about, we got a nice setup. Over here.
Yeah, very lovely.
Funny story about the microphones. Yours had to buy him one because I only had one. Mm-hmm. I bought yours, and mine busted and it stopped working. So I had to buy a new one on top of that. What? And I was really mad. I had a bunch of mishaps happen before today. And I was really mad. I was like really hoping that we would get everything done before today. And luckily, this microphone came yesterday. So
clutch.
Thank you, Amazon Prime. Thank you, Bezos. Only time.
Thank you for putting this all together, for real.
You're welcome.
This is going to be a great experience.
Yes, I'm very excited. I'm hoping to do this as much as possible.
Yeah, as often as we can, yeah.
We can go ahead and jump right in. We just got a little bit of news here. Starting off, we got some Daredevil and After Yang directors join the Star Wars Acolyte.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, Daredevil, obviously Daredevil we've seen.
Yeah,
Daredevil's
the
amazing.
Netflix show, yeah.
Daredevil's really
obviously.
good. I've never seen, I don't think I've seen After Yang. I haven't seen that.
I have not seen After Yang. So directors, was there like one main director on the Daredevil show? Or did they switch off and on kind of?
I think there were directors for each episode.
Mm-hmm.
Can find out real quick, but I'm pretty sure that they all had a different director each episode.
That's interesting that they're on the Acolyte, Star Wars Acolyte though. Pretty sure that's a movie coming out, right? Star Wars movie?
That or a show.
Either way though, it's the first Star Wars project that's actually set before Episode 1 takes place. It's literally the first like Star Wars show or movie or anything that takes place before Episode 1.
So it'll take place. Yeah, it'll take
place before Anakin.
Anakin.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, it does look like multiple directors directed each episode.
Okay.
So, yeah. I didn't see. It just said, the news that I saw just said a Daredevil director. So
yeah.
I didn't see a name.
Yeah.
Some more news. We got some Dead by Daylight. Have you played Dead by Daylight?
I have not, but I've heard of it and I've watched some gameplay on it, like on YouTube.
My girlfriend really likes Dead by Daylight. She has made me play it a few times. It's fun. I'm not a huge gamer.
Yeah.
But I like some fun games.
Yeah.
Every now and then. Well, Dead by Daylight is getting a film adaptation at Blumhouse. Same people that are making Five Nights at Freddy's film. I mean that sounds good.
That sounds good.
The Five Nights at Freddy's film, I think, will probably be pretty good too. Matthew Lillard is in that.
Yeah, they I hear that there's actually a lot going into the Five Nights at Freddy's movies, and that there's even already sequels and stuff that are in the works possibly and stuff like that. Yeah.
They're planning a trilogy of the Five Nights at Freddy's movies, and there was some behind the scenes makeup and spoiler alert, I don't know if this is a spoiler or anything, but Springtrap is gonna appear at some point. The kind of deranged bunny looking one. Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting. That's something to look forward to. Dead by Daylight and the Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Yeah.
Aaron Taylor, I know you're gonna like this one.
Yes.
Aaron Taylor Johnson joins
as well, yeah.
Robert Eggers' Nosferatu.
Yes. This was amazing news when I heard this. Yes. I was so excited.
You want to explain who Robert Eggers is?
Yeah, explain.
You can explain.
Okay. Robert Eggers is a acclaimed director. He's dropped many good movies over the past couple of years, mainly 3. The Witch, which I believe came out in 2015.
The only one I haven't seen.
After that, The Lighthouse, which is for sure 2019, and then his most recent film, The Northman, which came out, 2022, 2021?
Yeah, it was last year. Yep.
And all 3 good films. That's why he's an acclaimed director. And Nosferatu's is upcoming film, his next one coming out, I believe. And it's a classic horror movie that he's remaking.
Yeah.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. Great actor.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Honestly, I think his vibe fits very well with Robert Eggers style director, and I can't wait to see him in that more serious kind of role.
So it's a reboot. It's a reboot of the one with Willem Dafoe. Is that what it is, or is it of a different movie?
I don't know. All I know is that Nosferatu's considered like one of those old Gothic horror like monsters or whatever.
Yeah, he's
like
part
the
of the Frankenstein
Dracula era. He's just not as well known, and I think Eggers is gonna bring it out.
Yeah,
I think
amazing director.
Who's the guy? Bill Skarsgård, I think, is actually the one playing Nosferatu.
That's perfect.
Lily
Rose
Depp is like the main girl or whatever.
Right.
And then Aaron Taylor Johnson obviously joined the cast, and Willem Dafoe's in that movie in Nosferatu as well.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah,
because he plays Nosferatu in the original. That's awesome.
But yeah.
Something I thought was interesting was Joel Crawford, who directed Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, was rumored to be directing Kung Fu Panda 4, but unfortunately he shut those rumors down.
Yeah.
So that would have been really fun. Puss in Boots was a really big surprise. That's a good movie.
I actually have not seen it.
You haven't seen it still?
I know it's a crime, but
I need a new co-host. Haven't seen Puss in Boots: The Last Wish yet. Anyways, good movie. Took a lot of inspiration from a show we like, Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
Very, very good movie. Way better than it deserves to be. Has a lot of inspiration from Attack on Titan, Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Joel Crawford would have been perfect for Kung Fu Panda 4, but unfortunately he has said he's not going to.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad game, got some new looks this week. It is not looking amazing. So far, it's following the trend of the Avengers game and the what else? The Avengers game. Oh, the Gotham Knights game.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's focusing more on the online aspects rather than the gameplay. Also, every character is going to be using a gun.
Every character?
Yeah, Captain Boomerang, who uses a boomerang, is going to be using a gun throughout the game. In fact, there's only one character whose entire character is gun-based, and it's Deadshot. And they decided that everyone should just be Deadshot, I guess. King Shark, who is a big shark. That's literally all he is. He's using a gun. It's kind of, people are saying that I've seen are saying like they're turning it into Fortnite, basically.
Sounds like Call of Duty, yeah.
It does. I don't know. It's not looking too good to me. I think they should have. I think Insomniac should just make every game based on a superhero. Yeah. Honestly.
But they definitely should have focused more in on a story-based, gameplay-based game, I think, first. Mm-hmm. But multiplayer games, usually, if that's your focus, it usually doesn't work out a whole lot of times. Unless that's, like, your niche, you know?
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, they're, like, literally a movie franchise. Maybe make a story. Adapt that, you know?
Right. And a lot of people I saw saying that they should have just made a Superman game because there hasn't been a good Superman game ever. I think the last time a Superman game came out was Superman 64, which, if you've seen anything about that game, awful, terrible game. But I don't know. Apparently that's not looking too good.
Okay.
James Cameron has said that Avatar 3 will have a time jump. And that makes sense considering, didn't they film Avatar 2 like right after Avatar 1 and they were all still young and stuff and now they're all older?
I think that was like sort of the plan and stuff, but it varies from character to character. I mean, Sigourney Weaver, who is I don't know, 40 or 50 years old is playing.
She's more than that.
She's playing a child, bro. She's playing a child in Avatar 2.
She plays a child in Avatar 2?
Yeah, you remember the one that, like, connected
I haven't seen any of the Avatar movies, by the way, so
well,
you can spoil away.
Okay,
I'm not going to watch them.
She does. Well, that's basically all you need to know. Sigourney Weaver plays one of the main Avatar dudes, Jake or whatever his name is. She plays her daughter. Or his daughter, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, he said that it's going to be having a time jump. Makes sense.
I also know that they're going to go to a volcano-based tribe or a fire.
It's a fire tribe. When the Fire Nation attacked. Yeah. I mean,
interesting.
Interesting that a series called Avatar is basing their characters off the elements. Who knew?
Never been done before.
Some news that I personally am very excited about.
Yes.
The Mario movie is moving up 2 days.
Yep.
So instead of coming out April 7th, the Friday, it's coming out April 5th on a Wednesday.
Yep.
That's a dub.
That's actually, I actually think that could be a bigger deal than some people realize, because it's not very often that movies move up their release dates. You get a lot of pushbacks, but you don't get a lot of moving ups. Usually when a studio moves up a release date, it seems like it's like a tell that they're very confident in the product they got. So I'm guessing Nintendo and Illumination and everybody are pretty confident in the Mario movie.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be really good. So.
I'm confident in the Mario movie. It looks so good. I can't wait. Did you see they're doing press tour right now? And
oh yeah, I did.
It's Charlie Day, Chris Pratt, Keegan-Michael Key, and Jack Black. And Jack Black is dressed as Bowser. He's got the Bowser fit.
Yeah, I
love it. I love it. He's
embodying it.
He's embodied the character. He's perfect. I love Jack Black.
Oh, yeah.
I love Jack Black so much.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? You're an idiot if you don't like Jack Black. It's not true. Kind of.
Yeah, you might be.
Let's see. And then some Mario Kart news, some other Mario related news. Mario Kart, Nintendo has released the new tracks. They haven't released the tracks, but they have shown what the tracks are going to be for the new DLC. That's the Booster Course 4. The tracks are Singapore Speedway from Mario Kart Tour, Bangkok Rush from Mario Kart Tour, DK Summit from the Wii, which I'm very excited for, Amsterdam Drift from Tour, GBA Riverside Park, Game Boy Advance GBA, DS Mario Circuit, it's GameCube, GameCube Waluigi Stadium. And then those are all the already pre-established or established tracks. They have a new track that has not been on any systems yet. This is a brand new. Actually, technically speaking, this is the first Mario Kart 8 Deluxe track that is from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because everything else is from Mario Kart 8.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So this game, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, this will be the first track that's in 7 years since the game came out. Birdo is also coming out. So they have decided to do character releases, which means, Funky Kong maybe, hopefully.
We can pray.
We can only hope and pray. Any characters that you want to see? Yeah, you've played the other Mario Kart, right? The Wii at least.
Yeah, I played the Wii. I don't know. I'd like I'm a big fan of the Kongs, so Funky Kong would go a long way, and Cranky Kong would go a long way.
I think with the movie coming out, and Cranky Kong being more of an important character and a role of being the kind of ruler of DK Country instead of just a cranky old man.
Yeah.
And he's the Mario Kart scene where they're all driving on the Rainbow Road. I think it's possible that they will release Cranky Kong in the Mario Kart game, in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Yeah, I think that's very possible.
They definitely should use Mario Kart to the most advantage, I think, for the Mario movie, because there's a great opportunity to add more into it and stuff, to hype whatever you want up for this Mario movie.
Right. Let's see, we have they announced that they're going to be Warner Brothers announced that they're going to be doing more Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I heard the exact quote was something like they want it to be more like Star Wars, I believe. They said that they want Lord of the Rings to be as big or as expansive as Star Wars.
That's interesting.
I looked at the reaction online, and it seemed like most people are split right down the middle on how they feel about where they're taking Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Some say they are that this isn't really what the franchise started as or was intended to be. It was mainly supposed to be like these little one-off movies that cover the stories, nothing expanding on from that. And then some people are welcoming the expansion and stuff like that, saying they want more. I think that it's really the same as it always is for me, as long as it's done well, as long as the movies or shows are done well and they make sense, they have a purpose, and they have like heart and soul behind them. Why not? I don't see the harm.
Yeah, I mean, you can always expand on a universe like that.
Nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong in trying to expand on something that has a large fan base already, and they don't have that. Even it has a large fan base, given that there's not even that much projects. There's really only 6 total movies and a show.
Yeah,
and
the show,
and they have a big fan base considering for what they have.
Right.
So I think Warner Brothers definitely should be giving it more attention, especially if they, they're in money trouble and everything. They might want to make some more money on the side. That's an easy way.
And they also, the show is the only thing that's like not done well. Like the movies all did well, despite critically the Hobbit movies not being
the Hobbits are shaky
amazing
for critics, but
you're the Lord of the Rings guy. I mean, what did you think of? What do you think of the Hobbit? And
well, the Hobbit, I think the Hobbit is more fun. They're fun movies. They're definitely, you can see the time difference. I think you can see the difference in the Lord of the Rings being made in the early 2000s, and then the Hobbit films being made in the mid 2010s, early 2010s, mid 2010s. You see that difference, I think, in terms of not in quality, say. Even though there is a drop in quality because Lord of the Rings films are perfect, basically. But the drop is really, or the change is really in the structure of the film and how they go about things. The Hobbit is more actionized. There's more action scenes. There's more things to go ooh and ah.
The barrel scene being a very big.
Yeah, but the Lord of the Rings, they don't have as much of that, but they have the heart behind it, which is, at the end of the day, that's more important than the ooh-ah action scenes and stuff. So my take is that the Hobbit they're fun movies, they're okay, but the Lord of the Rings, nothing can be compared to those films, probably.
And then there's Rings of Power, which is only known for being $1 billion. They used $1 billion to make that show.
The show, it looks phenomenal. Like, looks-wise, there's nothing to complain about the show, but just wish that more of that budget went to the writing room and the writing staff.
Right.
Really.
Yeah. I just noticed I didn't write it down, but I do have some Ninja Turtles news. They got some cast announcement for the new Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem movie. We got Nicholas Cantu, who I don't know if you know. Do you know Nicholas Cantu?
Yes. If I'm correct, he is the voice of Gumball Watterson, right?
Yes, he is. He is Gumball Watterson. He's going to be playing Leonardo. I think that's a good fit.
I think that's a really good casting.
I'm not a huge Ninja Turtles fan, but from what I've seen, I have enjoyed. I enjoyed. I'm an enjoyer of the Michael Bay movies. They're
all right.
I think they're fun.
They're fun. Yeah,
they're fun. I think
they don't compare. I don't think to the animated original cartoon stuff.
Oh yeah,
but
the
that's
90s
just, that's
movies.
Just because nothing compares usually to those old cartoons that are so fucking good.
Right. Yeah, the 90s films are. I have certain nostalgia for I think at least there's only 2. I think so.
Yeah,
both of them. If there's more, I've only seen the first 2, but I have a nostalgia for the first 2. Just a specific situation where I was when I watched it. It was really it's a nice memory that I have. But we got Nicholas Cantu as Leonardo, Shaman Brown Jr. as Mikey. I looked him up. I have no idea who this is. He is hasn't been in anything that I've seen. He's like a background extra in a lot of things. I'm pretty sure. I'm excited.
I heard that. I think he might be one of the newer guys. I heard they in some of the castings they got more like newer, raw, inexperienced guys.
Yeah, the Ninja Turtles are all except Nicholas are like all new guys.
Yeah, so that's good though. I think giving people a chance and stuff is always a good thing.
Definitely,
for sure.
Definitely. So we got Shamon Brown Jr. as Mikey, Micah Abbey as Donnie, also another person I have not heard of. We got Brady Noon as Raphael. Same situation, new name. Jackie Chan as Splinter.
Yes.
Just can't stop casting Jackie Chan as a sensei character in movies like this.
Like how they went like all kind of low key and then Jackie Chan.
Yeah, like who else? You know, Jackie Chan as Splinter. There's not much to say on that. It's Jackie Chan as Splinter. It fits. It's literally perfect. Like you can't really get much better. And I don't know how, I'm gonna butcher this name. Ayo Edebiri is April O'Neil, another name that I hadn't heard of before, but I looked up is a name established. Mm-hmm. She's a comedian. She's been in a lot of stuff.
Okay.
I haven't seen anything though.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that she'll probably do a good job.
Oh yeah.
Seth Rogen as Bebop, the warthog. That fits. It's literally that's a perfect cast too.
Yep.
John Cena as Rocksteady, also perfect.
Yeah, that's
Rocksteady being the Rhino, if you don't know. And this next character I only know because of the most recent Ninja Turtles movie. Mm-hmm. Tyler Perry plays him, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Is the scientist Baxter Stockmay, who is played by Giancarlo Esposito.
Bro.
Yeah. So
that's such a good. Oh my god.
This cast is stacked. It's a good cast.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's a good mix, I think. It's a good mix of established names and new guys.
It's let's see. It's it's got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll count that one considering I've seen things. 4, 5 established names and 4 relatively unknowns.
Yeah.
Even Nicholas Cantu has a following, but
he's still not as well known as Jackie Chan per se or John Cena, but still it's still good to see that mix of mixing it up and stuff in terms of experience.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that. That comes out in theaters August 4th this year, 2023. I'm probably gonna go see it. I need to up my knowledge on the Ninja Turtles. I like them. I enjoy a Ninja Turtle movie every now and then.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Sure. Just one last bit of news that I had here for just some miscellaneous movie and TV show and video game news. Yeah. I found out that actor Robert Downey Jr., who plays Iron Man, if you don't know, has reportedly made around $435 million playing Iron Man. No human being should have that amount of money. I'm sorry, they just shouldn't. He's great. He plays Iron Man perfectly. No, that's too much.
That is that's a lot of money for one role. But to be fair, the one role is like the center figurehead of what started like the most profitable movie franchise out.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
The number makes sense for sure. But it's definitely like whoa.
Yeah, exactly. The best way I could put it is he deserves that amount of money, but he shouldn't have that amount of money. That's the best way I could put it.
And he definitely has more money than that. That's just what he made off Iron Man.
That's just what he made off Iron Man.
That's not including the side movies he's done besides Marvel and also the advertisements I'm sure that he has and all that. And yeah, I'm sure he's making tons of bank on the side. And so he's set for life.
Yeah.
For
he is the real life Iron Man. He does he funds technologies for schools and stuff. He's literally the real life Tony Stark. And then did you have any little bit of news that you wanted to add?
Nothing concrete. I did want to just chirp in. I saw a really fun rumor about the new upcoming Insomniac Spider-Man game.
Okay.
That I just wanted to have a little small chat about. So it's basically the thought of spoiler alert for the Spider-Man game, Harry Osborn has been basically set up to be in contact at least with the symbiote, or
Yes.
is with the symbiote
Right.
in the next game, right? Most people theorizing that he's going to be Venom for
He'll probably
the
be Venom,
Insomniac game. A lot of people though, in the video game Marvel community or whatever, have not taken a liking to this. I've seen a decent amount of people who actually want to bring Eddie Brock into the Insomniac games,
Yeah.
and and have him take over like midway through the game or something. So have the symbiote go from Harry to Peter to Eddie, basically.
Yeah.
Or a bounce in between of that, right?
Yeah.
Some mix up of that. So I just wanted to get your take, basically. Are you down for? Do you want a Harry Osborn Venom, or would you prefer Eddie Brock coming back into the fold
Well,
and taking it back?
so I always like when Harry gets to be a character other than just the best friend that is either just the best friend or a best friend who's like, you killed my dad, you know?
Yeah.
I always like when Harry gets to be a villain. I enjoy him in Spider-Man 3 when he becomes New Goblin. Terrible name, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know who the hell came up with that. But, no, I enjoy him. In fact, Harry being Venom is already something that I am familiar with. I'm not a huge comics reader. Either of us aren't huge comic readers. But for me, most of my knowledge with Marvel comes from the movies and the TV shows and anything that I see online with the comics. But my most familiar thing with Harry being Venom comes from the Ultimate Spider-Man TV show that was on Disney XD. And Eddie was not in that show. And I think Harry is a good substitute for Eddie when it comes to Venom, because Harry already dislikes Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He doesn't like him because he killed his dad. You know, he thinks he killed his dad.
Yeah.
So it's a good substitute for Eddie not being there, because Venom also hates Spider-Man. That's the whole reason Eddie doesn't like Peter and stuff. I honestly don't mind him being Venom as long as Eddie is somewhere in there. If he's in the game at some point and we see that he gets the symbiote.
Yeah.
And maybe Venom is not even that big. Kraven, I think, is probably going to be the big villain. I think Kraven is going to be the one that they focus on. They just wanted to show Venom because it's like, ooh,
Venom. Yeah.
Venom,
That's the one people are familiar with.
The most profitable Spider-Man villain ever.
Easily.
So I think that Harry will probably be Venom throughout the whole game. And at the end of the game, we'll probably get him and Eddie. And then Venom will be the focus of the final game. I think that's very possible. I don't think that will be what they do specifically. I just say it's possible that they do that.
I'm kind of hoping for Harry to be Venom, mostly because just it's something refreshing, something new for me specifically, especially in game format. It's obviously never been done before in game, so it's gonna be different. That's the best thing you can say, I think, is it's just gonna be different. It's gonna be fresh. It's not gonna be the same old Spider-Man characters.
Yeah.
And I think that's only a positive. Obviously, if done right, it's a positive. But I think from where we're at right now, I think it's only a positive to try something new, try something unique, for sure.
Definitely. All right. So, moving on now, we got a new category. We're going into the DC news. DC news. We got here that Clancy Brown, who voices everybody you've ever seen in a TV show.
Mr. Krabs,
He's
right?
Mr. Krabs. He's Surtur in Thor Ragnarok. He's I can't remember his name in the Daredevil, but he's the Punisher's like old general or whatever, old sergeant or something.
Yeah.
But he's in everything. He's in
a lot.
He's in Shawshank Redemption.
Yep.
I could go on. I can't think of anything else, but I could go on. He's going to be in the new John Wick film. He's in a lot. He's going to be in the new Penguin show.
Okay.
A spinoff of the Batman with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
He's going to be playing Salvatore Maroni, who I looked up and is just an Italian mob boss. So, seeming like he's going to probably be the villain of the Penguin show.
The Penguin. Probably the guy that the Penguin will overthrow or something to take over Gotham.
Equal in status.
Yeah. Probably who, I'm guessing Maroni, the guy, the new guy who's playing Salvatore Maroni. I'm thinking he'll probably he's probably going to take over from where Falcone left off.
Right.
If the Penguin is going to be in between Batman 1 and 2, which I think it is. He'll probably take over where Falcone left off, and then Penguin will take over where he left off.
Yes. That's probably a good starting point where they'll probably do. Next, we have Aquaman. It's pretty bad, apparently. It's not a huge surprise. The DCEU is dying, literally. They literally killed it. But some early screen tests, people come back and say that it's the, quote, worst DCEU movie of all time. Now, I don't know, because that's bad. That's a huge take.
Yeah.
And if that's true, that's bad.
That's a low, really bad. Low bar.
That's the lowest bar you could probably go, if I'm being honest. But I don't know, because it could just be for press to be like, oh, it's the worst. Oh, people hate DC already. Yeah. Oh, it's this new one that's coming out is the worst one. Oh, you got to go see it and hate on it. But I don't know. It might not be as bad as the really, like, Suicide Squad and, like, Batman v Superman and...
It's probably hyperbole. It's probably just an over-exaggeration. Like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. You have to go see it.
You've got to go see it. It's so bad. Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly what they're probably doing. I just muted my mic on accident. Next we've got Shazam. Apparently is on track to have a low opening weekend. Not surprising to me, because it looks... awful. Yeah. It looks bad.
Not only that, but the marketing has been, like, atrocious.
Yeah,
like,
it's been really bad marketing.
I went under some tweets the other day about Shazam, and people were literally like, this movie's out? Like, this movie's in the
comes
fold?
Out soon? Yeah.
Yeah, like, what's happening? And I just thought that was crazy. I was like, wow, they've done a terrible job with this marketing.
It's been awful.
Like, awful. This might be one of the worst marketing jobs I've seen.
And it's funny. It's funny because I'm a fan of the first Shazam film. I think it's really good. It's probably it's on the like, on terms of DCU, it's like the Suicide Squad is like number one for me. And I think after that would probably be Shazam. It's really good. It feels, I say this with all the good DC movies, it feels like a Marvel movie. But that's just because I'm biased and I love Marvel. But Shazam it's genuinely good.
Shazam does feel like a Marvel movie.
Yeah, it's genuinely good, though.
No.
But they definitely took some notes from Marvel to do that.
I heard that the Shazam 2 villains are also, like, not from the comics or whatever.
Yeah, they're all apparently...
Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren's characters were created or whatever originally.
Yeah. Like, they're part... I think it's that they're part of something that's from DC. Like, what they come from is from DC, but they themselves are new characters.
It's very interesting.
I guess that'll be cool. I mean, maybe, probably not. I don't know, that family joke in the trailer about, oh, it's Vin Diesel. It's all about family. So stupid. So bad. That's such a terrible joke. I see that every day at work. I'm like, it's not a good joke. So I heard this on another podcast that I listened to, a much bigger podcast. So a podcast with no followers shouting out a much bigger podcast. The Weekly Planet, they said that they had heard a rumor that George Clooney, spoiler alert, maybe, George Clooney will be in the post-credit scene of The Flash. Now, that begs the question, how? Because George Clooney's Batman, as far as I know, is supposed to be Michael Keaton's Batman. Because Michael Keaton did the first two movies and then left, and then Val Kilmer came in and then he left, and then they did the fourth movie with George Clooney. So, I don't know, but apparently someone that works at Warner Brothers said that Clooney came in and shot for The Flash. They don't know if they'll use it, but he was there.
My biggest hope for Clooney is then they gotta make sure they didn't bring back the nipples.
The nipples.
Bro.
Yeah, please.
Actually, low-key, maybe bring it back just for the fun. Just for the fun of it. It's a post-credit scene with George Clooney. Maybe someone like makes fun of him for it.
Yeah, leave Ezra Miller in that universe because it's so bad. No one likes those movies. Or that movie specifically. Yeah, but that's something I've heard. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if
that's interesting. I mean, that's very interesting.
But it'll definitely, I mean,
I
with
can
No
see
Way,
it happening.
right?
I could see it.
With No Way Home, DC might be wanting to be like, well, we gotta have our 3 Batman in the film. So Batfleck is already in the movie.
I don't know. I don't know if Batman. I could be wrong about this completely, but I don't know if Batman mixes as well together with like working with variants and such as a Spider-Man.
He doesn't,
because Peter Parker's much more like, let's go fight the bad guy, guys.
Yeah.
And Bruce Wayne's more like, let's go fight the bad guy, me.
Yeah, I'm gonna fight you, and I'm gonna fight the bad guys.
Talking to my personal monologue.
Yeah, I don't trust myself. Have you? Well, there's the things that I've seen with Batman and variants all comes from the Injustice game and the Justice League TV show. There's a part where literally Batman captures Batman and Flash, and Batman's like, I don't trust myself, and so he's like, they break out and stuff. But yeah, apparently he doesn't play well with others, including himself. So that's just something that I've heard. I don't know if that's true. I have no idea. It might not be true at all. But some more Flash news. Flash will debut 2 months early at CinemaCon in its entirety. That's April 25th, CinemaCon.
Okay.
I mean, they must have some faith in that movie if they're showing it 2 months early.
To put this in perspective, from what I've heard, the Barbie movie and Oppenheimer are both rumored to be showing at CinemaCon, right? So two very well put together movies from big directors, big well established directors. They're obviously going to be very confident in their movie.
Yeah.
For the Flash to be doing that as well, they got to be confident in that. And they've also, I know you've heard the hype around the Flash, people saying it's like one of the greatest superhero movies and stuff. It better live up to the hype. That's all I'm saying.
It better. It looks. I will say, surprisingly, it was the trailer at the Super Bowl that I liked the most, and I get goosebumps when I see it in the theater. I'm like,
it was a good trailer.
Man, that's good.
The movie looks good. I won't even deny that. The movie actually looks really good from right now. Mm-hmm. Just gotta stick the landing.
Yeah, and that's the most praise that Ezra Miller should get is that this movie that he's in looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. I can't believe they're still... I mean, they must have some faith in this movie. There are 3 Ezra Millers in this movie. He appears 3 times, 3 different characters.
I don't know, man. I guess they're thinking that people are just going to forgive and forget. I sure haven't forgotten.
Yeah. I mean, didn't they minimized Amber Heard's role in Aquaman?
In Aquaman 2, yeah.
And
they minimized it.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't minimize a guy's role. He's the main character. He's the main 3 characters.
Yeah, apparently he plays the protagonist and the antagonist of the film. So
he plays 2 protagonists and 1 antagonist.
So it's like...
Yeah.
Can't really minimize that.
Can't get him out of there, yeah. Well, that's all the DC news. Did you have any DC news?
No, I didn't really find anything on DC-wise.
Yeah. I was a little dry on DC too. I got most of this news, by the way, is from a week ago, but a lot of it is still from this week. Yeah. All right, well, I guess we can jump into some MCU news.
Get it.
Now, this is the stuff that we can really go in depth on.
Yeah.
Starting simple though, we've got Simu Liu, who plays Shang-Chi. Says that he will team up with the Avengers sooner than we think. So I'm thinking maybe Secret Invasion or Captain America. I think those are the 2 most likely options.
Yeah, sounds right.
That's exciting.
That's really exciting.
Really want to see Shang-Chi with these characters.
Can't wait to see him interact with... It was already so weird seeing him interact with Bruce and Captain Marvel and stuff in his own post-credit scene of his own movie. Yeah. But seeing him actually on the squad and stuff, talking to different people and stuff, it's gonna be so good.
I'm excited. Daredevil Born Again has started for training.
Yeah.
So training started.
I think I saw a picture of Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox all sweaty and stuff or something.
Yeah, I actually posted those on my story. They're fighting with their trainer, who I do not know the name of, unfortunately, but they were just basically saying, hey, training for Daredevil Born Again has begun. So that is very exciting. Yes. 18 episodes, by the way. 18 episodes.
Can't wait.
That's almost an entire year of episodes coming out. Well, not in almost half a year.
Yeah.
Now, next we have Karen Sony, who plays Dopinder in Deadpool, the taxi driver.
Yes.
He will be playing Spider-Man India and Into the Spider-Verse.
I love this information.
Yes,
man.
this information is really good. I love Karen Sony. He's hilarious. He's one of the best parts of the Deadpool films, no doubt.
His role in Deadpool is iconic.
Yeah,
and he has no superhero suit, no anything.
Yeah.
And it's iconic.
He's one of the best. He's unironically one of the best comic book movie characters, side characters, and he has no abilities whatsoever. And he still does some damage, especially in the second movie.
Bro, him playing Spider-Man India is perfect, bro.
Yeah,
and
it's
did you
perfect.
see have you seen the design of his costume and stuff?
Yeah.
It looks great.
It looks
bro.
like his hair
So dripped
coming down.
out, bro.
He's dripped. Yes, definitely. Karen Sony as Spider-Man India. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of which, the director for Across the Spider-Verse said that Josh Keaton will be back as Spectacular Spider-Man, and he'll have lines in the movie.
That's interesting.
So he'll have a role. In
Yeah, like he won't just be like, oh, there he is. You know, it'll be.
Now I don't know if that's gonna stay that way, but that's
Yeah.
what I've heard. So that's exciting.
That's very exciting. Yeah.
A little bit of in some money and corporation news with Disney. Disney is possibly going to sell Hulu, their share of Hulu, to get back the rights of Namor and Hulk. So they would be sharing 67% of their share. Well, 67%, which is what they own of Hulu,
Yeah.
they would be giving to Universal so that they could, in exchange, get Namor and Hulk and do solo projects for them.
Yep.
As of now, their contract only allows for Namor and Hulk to be in side projects and team up movies.
Yeah.
But this would allow them to have their own solo movies. Now, if Disney does not sell its share to Hulu, all 67% of it, and decide to release solo projects for Hulk and Namor, which they won't for obvious reasons, Comcast has the right to distribute those projects on their streaming platform Peacock. So if Disney doesn't share to Hulu, those characters can go to Peacock. If they make movies, if they make a movie without doing the deal, Universal has the right to distribute those movies themselves as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, either way is a dub for fans because we'll get the movies either way.
Yeah, it sounds like we're getting them either way.
It's only an L for Disney if they don't.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy though. I don't know. It may sound weird to me because I'm not familiar with the corporation talk and everything, but it literally sounds like they're like trading Hulu like it's a Pokemon card or something.
Literally.
Like, yeah, we'll give you Hulu. Just give us Hulk and Namor.
Yeah, that's literally because nobody really uses Hulu. I mean, like Hulu's like it's okay, it's got some nice things on there, but it's.
I just thought that was
just
funny that
alright.
Disney's literally trying to trade Hulu. That's kind of crazy.
It is, and they honestly should have done that with Fox instead of just buying Fox.
Yeah.
But Fox wasn't giving those.
Yeah, Fox
those
was
characters away. They were gonna run those. I mean, they already did. They ran those characters into the ground. But that's exciting. Either way, we're gonna get movies. I think we're definitely gonna get solo projects, no matter what. She-Hulk sets up that they're gonna do a movie for Hulk anyways, no matter what, whether this deal falls through or not.
Yeah.
I think they could stand to lose some money from streaming. They'll survive. They'll live. It's Disney. Some more into the Spider-Verse news. Miles might visit Tom Holland's universe. So we could possibly get a scene with live action Miles Morales played by Shameik Moore in an MCU canon scene.
Yep.
Even if it's just for a second. Could you imagine that? Shameik Moore as live action Miles in an MCU canon scene.
Bro, just the idea of Across the Spider-Verse even switching from animation to live action for even a scene is just crazy. The fact that it would be possibly inside the MCU universe, that's actually crazy.
Right, the same way that the Venom post-credit scene is in the MCU technically.
Yeah.
Even though that movie for me. I would never do for a marathon of the
Yeah.
MCU films.
But it's still very cool. I think that that they're connecting that Spider-Man relation and stuff.
Yeah.
I literally would love to see Tom Holland live action Spider-Man this year. That would be phenomenal.
Yeah, seeing him in, even if it's not animated form, just seeing him in Into the Spider-Verse movie, crazy.
That would be beautiful.
Toby and Andrew also, I've heard, might show up in Beyond the Spider-Verse. So yeah, that's
Also, I would also love the reverse. Seeing the live action guys go into animation. I would love seeing that.
I'd rather see that because it's them and do a different
art style and stuff.
It's a different situation for those characters. We've never seen them in that kind of style. Miles, obviously, we haven't seen him in live action, but that's something that could wait, if anything. Yeah. But either way, it's very exciting.
Hopefully, get both. I mean,
do both.
That would
do
be
both.
awesome.
Does not matter. Do both. This was old news in terms of last week, but is now more recently this week news. Steven Yeun has been cast in the Thunderbolts, and more so than that, he is right now all but confirmed playing Sentry. Now, I don't really like that casting. I am not a fan of that casting because Steven Yeun to me does not scream Thor being, Thor-like character.
Yeah.
But Steven Yeun is an amazing actor. He's an amazing actor, and he could play. I'm confident that he could play any role he's given. All that is important to me is that they make him look similar to the character, so we know that it is Sentry. But those are my thoughts on that.
I think. I honestly think he might be even underrated as an actor. Honestly,
Definitely,
because most people, when you say his name, most people immediately go, "Oh, Glenn Walking Dead." That's the only thing they know him from. But that's nothing wrong with that if that's like your only experience with him. But you're definitely limiting yourself into what his ability can be and stuff. I've seen I haven't seen any like films, but I've seen a lot of clips on YouTube and stuff of acting from some different movies and stuff. I've seen Nope as well, and he's great in Nope. Yeah. But I saw this one film. I don't know the name of it, but I saw it off YouTube, and his acting was just beautiful in the scene. It was so subtle, so great, and he was just fully immersed. And he was playing like a rich douchebag kind of character, but he felt like it, and
interesting.
It was very good. And I'm even though, like you said, the casting of him as Sentry is very questionable. It
is very. Yeah.
But I'm here for it if he rocks it, which I hope he does. Obviously, I think it'll be good. So I guess just really see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely something that could be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
If it happens. He could, and again, it's just a rumor.
Oh, yeah.
He could not be Sentry at all. He could be someone else entirely.
Main thing I heard is that he plays an important role in the Thunderbolts movie.
Yes, he plays an important role. A lot of people saying, myself included, would like to see him as Amadeus Cho.
Yeah.
But that's, I feel, a little bit limiting considering there aren't a whole lot of like Asian Marvel characters. Yeah. And it's kind of limiting to be like, well, he should play the only other Asian character, you know? And I definitely think he should play whoever he fits most.
Yeah.
But that being said, he does fit Amadeus Cho very well because Amadeus Cho is a Peter Parker-like character. He's just like Peter Parker almost. More recently, he is a Hulk. They've decided to call him Brawn, I suppose. Yeah. But he's what's known as the totally awesome Hulk in the comics. But originally, Amadeus Cho was just really smart, one of the smartest people in the world compared to Reed Richards and Tony Stark and stuff like that. And he was only like 14 or something. Wow. So, and he originally was just a skilled fighter and used his knowledge to his ability. In the, actually my favorite version of Amadeus Cho is in the Ultimate Spider-Man TV show. It all comes back to the Ultimate Spider-Man TV show, which isn't even that loved of a show. In that show, he is the Iron Spider. Tony Stark gives Peter the suit, and Peter gives the suit to Amadeus.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's my favorite version of the character. And that would fit for the MCU.
Yeah.
That would fit for the MCU in terms of its storyline. I would love that.
Yeah. Sure.
And more thoughts on that?
No, not really. Just
Andy's good as Invincible. So,
yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing as Invincible.
I honestly forgot completely about that, but he is amazing in Invincible.
Yeah,
Really, he
fantastic.
actually is really good. So I would love to see more voice work and stuff from him.
His
well. That'd be
voice
great.
acting, he's as good as voice acting as he is regular acting,
Oh.
and that's hard for a lot of on-screen actors
Yeah,
to
especially
do.
those guys that have established them on screen.
Yeah.
They don't translate it usually to the voice.
Yeah,
But
J.K. Simmons being another one who is in that show
also
with
on
him.
that show, yeah.
Next we have Sam Wilson. Anthony Mackie says Sam Wilson, Captain America, will not lead the Avengers.
Okay.
He says Sam is the only character without superpowers. He's just a regular dude hanging out with a bunch of weirdos. Being from New Orleans, I've been in a few fights, and heart and charisma never helped me in a fight. That usually just got me beat up. So that might cause an issue when you got to fight someone like Thanos. Now, Black Widow and Hawkeye are even less powered, arguably, than Sam Wilson as the Falcon. Not even as Captain America. As the Falcon, they're less skilled than he is in terms less advantage, I would say. They are top tier Avengers. They are on the Avengers, the original team of the Avengers.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for Anthony Mackie to be like, yeah, Captain America has no superpowers, so he's not going to lead the Avengers. I don't think that matters.
I mean, for me, my problem with this is a quote, right?
This is a quote from Anthony Mackie.
My problem with this is I hard disagree on the heart and charisma never helped me in a fight. And now, that might not help him in a fight per se, but he also says it might be an issue when you go to fight somebody like Thanos or whatever, implying that heart and charisma wouldn't really be that helpful to fight Thanos. Captain America, like his whole thing when he was fighting Thanos, his whole character was about having the heart and stuff to keep going.
Heart and charisma.
To never give up. Yeah, the charisma.
Stand up to Thanos, yeah.
I think I got a hard disagree about the heart and charisma part.
Yeah.
And even about, like you said, about him not having superpowers. He can fly, bro.
He can fly.
Hawkeye couldn't fly.
Yeah, Hawkeye can't fly.
Black Widow couldn't fly.
Can't fly.
Yeah.
He's one of the...
And he has the shield
Yeah.
now, too. I definitely think... And he's Captain America. He should be... Maybe he's not the leader in every movie or every project or whatever, but he should be a leader.
It would be weird for Steve to pass the shield down, and Steve, in every movie he's in, in every movie he's in, has a leader speech. He's like, guys, we got to do this.
We got to pull together.
We got to pull together. We got to do this. And for him to pass the shield down to Sam, and then for them to make Sam not lead the Avengers, or at least give the rounding speech.
That's very weird because it's like they literally like you said, Steve gave him the shield and everything for him to be the next Captain America.
Yeah.
Right? And obviously the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show was about him
all about
accepting that role.
Right.
You know? And feeling that he himself is good enough for that role, right? I think that he went through that character arc already. So it now makes sense for him to be a leader of the Avengers. Maybe not the guy, but he definitely should be one of the ones giving the, like you said, the pep talks and stuff like that. It's weird that they were like, oh yeah, you can be Captain America, but you're not going to be the captain of anything, really. Yeah. That's just your name and the shield and
That's
stuff.
very weird to me.
It's very weird. I hope maybe that's like a misdirection maybe or something, some 1,000 IQ play by Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, I really hope so. I really hope that's just a play. Next we've got so Jeff Loveness, who directed Ant-Man, or he didn't direct, he wrote Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yeah.
Cannot keep his mouth shut. Keeps talking about movies that he has and will write about. Jeff Loveness, he says that he is making Kang the main character of Kang Dynasty.
Yeah, Kang Dynasty.
Like Thanos being the main character of Infinity War.
Yeah.
He says, Avengers 5 writer Jeff Loveness says that he is trying to write Kang as the protagonist for Avengers The Kang Dynasty. He says, quote, secretly it is a Kang movie. Perfect.
Yeah. I think in terms of what makes a villain so great, and just or antagonist even, but more so a villain, and its conception is making sympathetic villains a lot. It is good. You can make a good non-sympathetic villain for sure, but it's really easy to make a good villain that's when you add that sympathy to them.
Yeah.
a good way to add sympathy to any character, antagonist or not, is make them a protagonist of your story, because
exactly.
the audience always wants to, they want to get connected with the protagonist. They want to feel for the protagonist, even if the protagonist is the villain of the story or whatever.
Yeah.
So making the movie about him, or making him Kang the protagonist, kind of makes you center your writing from him and then outward, basically. So you start with Kang, you add the sympathy, you add the depth and stuff into the writing, and then you expand outward and stuff. And I think that's a really good way.
Yeah.
It worked with Infinity War perfectly.
Perfect example.
And Kang's a great person, another great character to do it with, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do things, especially with the first part of the finale Avengers films that they've done. Thanos being the main character, Kang being the main character, Doom possibly being the main character of the next phase, you know? That's such a genius way to do it, is to give the villain their own movie within the story of a team-up film.
Yep.
So perfect. And I believe he's also said that he is really good at making the movies, or writing movies that are like Infinity War, where the story is kind of in the background, but is still prominent.
Yeah.
But it's more character based, focusing on one character while the action goes around them. And that's what Jeff Loveness, I'm pretty sure, has said about his own writing.
When you write a good narrative as like the undertone, can make films a lot more enjoyable for people who really want to like get immersed and dive into the film, and like what people what do people mean when they say and stuff like that.
Right, exactly.
Because there believe it or not, there are different ways to intake a movie. There is just looking at it on the surface level, and there's trying to look beyond the surface level and stuff. And that is what that undertone narrative would bring, is something beyond the surface level of the story.
Right. And then Jeff Loveness also said about Kang Dynasty is that he will not be using, as of right now, the Fantastic Four in Kang Dynasty. He says, yeah, it's definitely a tricky thing, but much like when I took on this Ant-Man job, I can't really focus on that outside stuff. I've just got to lay down the bones of a good story, hopefully, and find the characters that I want to tell it. And when it comes a game becomes a game of ping pong with the other people. Like whoever comes on and does Fantastic Four or Blade, and he says, or I'm probably not even using those characters, but it all informs itself. I don't know, kind of a really weird thing to not just use the characters that are established before the movie comes out.
That, I don't know, it's always weird to me when, like, I feel like this has been a thing with some Marvel writers or directors recently. Like, they talk a lot,
so much. Oh my god,
they talk a lot, bro. And when you're saying shit like, "Oh, I don't want to use these characters," or I don't think I'm going to use these characters even. Why even say something like that?
Yeah, why?
Because that's already shoehorning the audience and your own viewpoint of what your film's going to be about, what it's going to be. You're already putting expectations on it and stuff. Like, now people are like, oh, well, or I guess you're really dropping expectations, but I guess you could be setting that could be a play. Yeah, you never know with these Marvel guys, man. Feige's in their head. Feige's in their head,
bro.
Pointing a gun at their head or something.
Feige's in his own head. Have you seen that clip of him where he's like, yeah, Ant-Man, yeah, we have some really exciting stuff for Kang. We just almost spoiled something, and then, bro, he's gonna gun. He shot himself in the foot almost. He almost dropped the sniper.
You never know with these Marvel guys, though. They could be just misdirecting you and stuff.
Very much could be.
But I don't know. I just don't get why you would come out and say anything about, oh, I'm not going to use, or I'm going to use whoever in upcoming movies. I would just stay quiet about that.
Don't say anything yet. Yeah. Talk about the movie that you've already made that's already out.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, he has. He said, what did he say? He said that he doesn't understand the complaints about MODOK because all he is a big dumb head. Yeah, that's all he'll ever be.
He said that. I saw a couple of quotes of him like saying, "Oh, I agree with people on that criticism of the movie, or I agree with them on that." But I'm pretty sure he was like, "Nah, I'm standing firm on this. Yeah. I will not give up any ground. Yeah. MODOK was done great.
Yeah.
And I agree, obviously.
I honestly agree. I think there could have been more MODOK.
Oh, yeah.
I think the movie would have benefited. Actually, I'm not going to say that. We'll talk about our Quantumania thoughts at the end of this. Yeah. I'll save that.
All right, bet.
We got some Deadpool
Let's
news. Deadpool starts filming this spring in London. I'm so excited. I can't wait for Deadpool. Hugh Jackman is back. Speaking of Hugh Jackman says that he will be doing a dual role. Did you see this?
No, I did not see this.
You didn't see this?
No.
Okay. This is the news that I was hoping you wouldn't see.
Okay.
Because this is exciting. So Hugh Jackman says that he will be doing a dual role. He says, yes, it will even be a dual role. Ryan and I have been friends for 20 years. We have a lot of fun together. We are filming this summer. I guess it's summer, spring, kind of that area. He says, we're filming this summer. That's why I'm so happy to be in Paris right now and able to enjoy French gastronomy. Because very soon I'm going to have to put myself on a strict diet to remake my Wolverine body, steamed chicken and broccoli. A dual role. Now, this could mean very many things.
Yeah, for sure.
This could be he's playing two different versions of Wolverine from the X-Men universe.
Yeah.
He could be playing Wolverine in the MCU. He could be
true.
playing Wolverine and Hugh Jackman. And I kind of like that one the most.
Hugh Jackman,
I kind of like that one the most.
That'd be very funny.
We know it's a multiverse movie. We know it has to. We know that this movie. It's been confirmed that this movie will have probably the biggest impact in terms of right before Kang Dynasty comes out.
Especially with the seemingly random Loki crossover into Deadpool as well.
Mobius being confirmed for Deadpool. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited. One Hugh Jackman is enough for me, but two Hugh Jackmans is a welcome pleasure.
Bro, Hugh Jackman playing himself would go crazy. Deadpool.
Could you imagine if it's Deadpool, Wolverine, and Hugh Jackman,
and
that's like the team up is like just normal Hugh Jackman?
That'd be so funny, bro. That'd be hilarious.
That would be awesome. Doctor Strange. He says Doctor Strange will be the villain to Kang. So so like how Tony Stark is the antagonist in terms of Thanos.
Okay.
That same kind of thing.
So Doctor Strange would be like that main guy, the biggest thorn in Kang's side, basically.
Yes, exactly. So Doctor Strange will be the Tony in this situation. I love that.
I like that a lot.
I think it's perfect because Kang is trying to eradicate timelines and try to make them perfect, try to establish one perfect world.
Yeah.
And Doctor Strange is kind of doing that involuntarily. He doesn't mean to do that with all his multiverse hopping, and Kang might need to stop him and say, hey, you're not doing it right. I have a way I'm doing this. You're causing things to happen.
It also really fits because the first really big multiversal movies or projects in general for the MCU were the Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, both having Doctor Strange in it, obviously. I think that fits very well. Nice little thread there from Doctor Strange. We can see basically just like Tony with the Infinity Saga. You see where Tony started at. You see where his character went. Could see the same thing with Doctor Strange. I would love to see that with Doctor Strange.
Ironically, the Doctor Strange movie is one of the movies that's modeled after the first Iron Man movie, so that would be really funny if that's what happened. Another quote from Jeff Loveness here about Quantumania. He says, he's addressed if Kang has had a potential romance with Janet Van Dyne in the MCU. I thought this was just a bit of fun news. He said, I intentionally left it a little vague, but clearly, let's say they're very good friends. Maybe they had sex. Kang getting it on a little bit? All right. I mean, I would. See Jonathan Majors?
I mean, that's definitely an interesting quote for sure.
I mean...
I didn't pick up those vibes exactly.
No, I didn't either, but... I mean, I guess it's possible. She literally says in the movie, I have needs, whatever.
I mean, she confirmed that she slept with Bill Murray, so... Kang, I mean, I definitely can see it for sure.
I mean, you sleeping with Bill Murray and not Jonathan Majors? That's a little strange. But as of the MCU news, that's all I've got. Do you have any MCU news?
Cause I had a little thing. It's not technically MCU, but it's about the Madam Web movie.
Or Marvel in general, yeah. It's fine.
So it's the Madam Web movie, and what I heard is a rumor now that's coming back again is that Sydney Sweeney is playing Spider-Woman in the Madam Web movie, and it's the one that has like the actual like powers and stuff like that. I think her name's like Jessica.
Jessica Drew.
Jessica Drew, yeah. She's playing that one, apparently.
Okay.
Because people have been seeing her get into, like, really, really good shape and stuff for the film, and Spider-Woman hasn't been explicitly, like, stated or confirmed, I don't think, for Madam Web. So, a lot of people have connected that thing. That's just a big rumor going around right now.
I mean, she'd be good. She's really good. I mean, from what I've seen in Euphoria, she's really good.
She's definitely an okay actress. I think she could shine in a more heroic kind of role where it's just kind of like save the day, you know.
I agree.
I think she'll shine more in that. But yeah, that's all I had for Marvel.
All right. Before we get into our most recent our thoughts and reviews on the most recent things that have come out, I wanted to talk about Quantumania for a minute because it just came out. We are starting this after that came out. Yeah. And I thought we got to talk about the most recent Marvel movie. Luckily, it's not too far away that it just happened. So I wanted to reiterate some thoughts that we've already talked about Quantumania. So we can just start off whatever. What did you think of Quantumania in general?
Okay. I think the best, like, if I had to pick a word to describe Quantumania, it would definitely be fun. It is exactly what I was expecting, I think, to get from the film, was a very fun ride through the quantum realm with Ant-Man doing, you know, all the quirky, crazy things and stuff that they had. All the different species and freedom fighters that they brought in and stuff like that. I thought that was all done well, and I thought that it also did what I expected and getting a little bit more serious when Kang was on screen, you know, kind of draining out more of that funniness, or at least if you don't want to drain out all the funny scenes with Kang, what you do is exactly what they did in the movie is you have Jonathan Majors bounce back with these retorts and stuff that aren't like, they're not funny. He's not being like jokey, but he's serious, but he's still like letting you know you're not a threat to me.
Yeah, you're nothing.
Yeah, he literally goes, "You talk to ants" in the movie and stuff. He's letting them know basically, and I think that they did Kang. Kang is obviously the best thing of the movie. I think Jonathan Majors' 100%. Performance.
Scott and Kang are the best parts of the movie.
Jonathan Majors' performance is the one that really was like the line delivery, just everything, the facial expressions. You could just tell that he put his body and soul into this role. Yeah. And you just felt it in the fight scenes. Every single line, I felt like you just felt the authentic.
How many Avengers I've killed.
Yeah. You just feel the in that performance. It's one of those roles that you just have to watch to understand, really. You really just have to feel that. And like you said, Paul Rudd was actually really good, I thought, as Scott Lang in Quantumania.
Probably the best acting that I've seen from him.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, I would have to agree. He was really good.
He's really good in this. I would say the only thing that rivals his acting in this movie is a movie called The Fundamentals of Caring. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have not.
It's a dramedy. It's very. I'm gonna have to rewatch it sometime and make a review on that. But it's he's definitely the funniest part of the movie, but he's also he's got a very sad character.
Yeah.
That's a very good movie too. But that's probably the only movie that I would say rivals his acting in Ant-Man.
Yeah. Okay.
I definitely basically have the same thoughts. It was very fun. A lot of Star Wars vibes. Yes. Definitely a lot of Star Wars inspiration. Vibes, a lot of the complaints being it being in the quantum realm, and so when he grows and he shrinks, does it really matter? And I say it's still. It's definitely not as interesting as it is when it's in real life.
Yeah.
And it's not as... The fun of it is that it's real life. Like, shrinks a mug, it's a tiny little mug, you know? Yeah. Shrink a car, tiny little mug, or a car. Make a building a lot bigger, or a suitcase. Make it a little suitcase.
Yeah.
That's the fun of the Ant-Man movies. But I think that this worked as a setup. Yeah. The best way this movie works as a setup for the future. Yeah. As a film... It's fun. It's okay.
It's a fun movie.
It's all right. But it's as a setup and as a Marvel movie, I think it works completely fine. There's no There's no real character arc for Scott. He doesn't have a character arc.
Yeah.
And that's fine. They literally say it in the movie, he saved the universe.
Yeah.
He saved the universe. He deserves a break.
Yeah.
I
Completely.
think that the other characters in the movie don't think he deserves a break, but I think that's dumb.
Yeah.
But he deserves a break. He was in jail. He hadn't seen his daughter for most of her life.
Yeah.
He has spent most of his time trying to see his daughter, and now he finally has because he saved the universe and I can see his daughter.
Yeah.
And she gets mouthy with him because he apparently is not a good dad, even though she's putting herself in jail.
To be fair, I understand her a little bit more than like Hope, for example.
Yes.
Or like
way more.
Like why is Hope like not at least backing him up? Like
you were there.
Like Cassie wasn't there. But
Yeah.
Hope, bro, she was at the fight, bro.
She was fighting with
Like
she saw it go down.
Yeah, like and
She was part of
that's
it.
not saying she didn't put her life on the line either. She
Definitely
definitely
did, yeah.
But Ant-Man, he was there. He did more objectively. He was there for longer. He had more impact. I think that he definitely deserved. I definitely didn't like how they were just kind of like
They treated him
they treated him very
trash.
weird.
Yeah, he literally was the key to saving without Scott
Yeah.
coming out of the quantum realm.
Bro, the Avengers were like they gave up
They did.
without Scott.
They did
bro.
they completely gave. Now Steve says, God, well, actually no, I was gonna say Steve still holds on to hope, but he says you got to move on. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like the way they treat Scott in the new movie, but
Yeah, that's true.
the best parts of Quantumania are 100% Scott, Paul Rudd as Scott, and Jonathan Majors as Kang.
Mm-hmm.
Kang is really strong. As of right now, I would say he's probably top 5 villains so far.
Yeah.
I think he's not quite... He's nowhere near Thanos as of yet.
Yeah.
I even think Green Goblin is better.
Yeah, I would
I
say
think
so.
he's probably 3 or 4 in the top 5 so far.
I think so as well.
Um,
He's probably, for me, I think he's at like a Wenwu level.
Wenwu, exactly. I think
of character.
I think he's Wenwu, Vulture,
but obviously,
Mysterio kind of area.
Obviously, his potential to surpass all of them has been set up.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, he can be as good as Thanos
Yeah.
with the right writing and directing.
Yeah.
He can be as good as Thanos.
Yes.
And I think the movie. I personally think Quantumania would have been better with a different director. Peyton Reed is a fine director.
Yeah.
He is perfectly okay, and that's kind of what the Ant-Man movies have been seen as, are perfectly okay
Yeah,
within the
that's
MCU. And
Although I think the first one is a little underrated.
the first one is way underrated because it's genuinely good.
It's a good movie, yeah.
But to be fair, they were using most of the notes that Edgar Wright gave them. So Peyton Reed, though he directed that, he took on that role to direct.
I will say this, I wouldn't have minded if they wanted to switch directors for Quantumania.
I wouldn't have either.
Just they were obviously going in a different direction for Quantumania than the first 2 Ant-Man films, not only literally going into the quantum realm, so separating some characters off, but literally just going into the quantum realm, the craziness of that and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that that whole shift in tone, really, I think, and also obviously bringing in Kang, I think a different director could have improved the movie in terms of quality and stuff. I still don't think what we got was bad, though, you know?
No,
I
I
think
don't
Quantumania was still a really good introduction to Phase 5 and stuff. I think that, I don't know, I think we have a lot to be excited for sure.
We definitely do. And a lot of people calling it the post-credit scene, the first one specifically with the Citadel of Kangs, being corny and campy. I can agree to some extent. It's a little campy. It's a little campy.
I wouldn't say corny, but I would say campy.
I would say campy too. I can agree, but the fun in that, I think that most people haven't realized, is this parallels in terms of how it feels to the original Avengers post-credit scene, to me. Because the original Avengers post-credit scene, they didn't have a plan of, like, where it was going. They just they knew, okay, I gotta set up this purple guy in the end of the movie. So they set it up, it was the guy with no face or whatever, being like, to challenge them is to court death. And then he turns around and he smiles. That's campy. Okay, it is. No matter what you think. The entire first Avengers movie is campy. Yeah. It's good, but it's campy. And that's what I love about it, is that it feels... It was the 6th movie in its timeline when it came out. There had already been 5 movies that came out before it, and it felt like a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man era movie.
Yeah,
it felt like it was made in that time.
I definitely feel that.
Yeah, and the post-credit scene is treated like that, and it might not be on purpose. They might not have done that on purpose for the new one, but it helps me like it more by seeing it that way.
Yeah,
and considering Quantumania was supposed to be the kind of the Avengers of the new saga.
Yeah.
In terms of scale, it works. It works for me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The only thing I have a real gripe about of Quantumania is that it was Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, and it's mainly no Wasp. Like, she's in it, but she's doing nothing the whole time almost.
Yeah, that is absolutely true.
She's very much sidelined. They could have just dropped
the Wasp out of the title, honestly.
However, I rationalize that by saying Janet is the second main character of the movie. Besides, like, Cassie and Kang. She's
she's technically
and she's
the Wasp. Yeah.
So I think the title still makes sense.
Yeah.
But they definitely sidelined the one that it is the Wasp.
That's actually one thing we didn't talk about is Michelle Pfeiffer in Quantumania. I thought was really good.
She does a great job. She literally keeps up with Jonathan Majors.
It was actually super unexpected though, like for her character to turn that good in terms of like where they took her in direction and in where she took it in terms of acting. It was really great, I thought.
Yes, it was
really great seeing that on screen.
She gave a really good performance in that film. Some final thoughts. MODOK. I think again, MODOK
is like the big one, bro. People literally dislike the movie because of MODOK.
Which ridiculous. I think to let that ruin the movie going experience, considering how small of a role he has too, is ridiculous.
I just think it's funny that people want MODOK to be taken serious.
That's so funny to me.
The funny thing is that's like the gag about him. Like he wants to be taken serious.
Yeah, the whole point is that he wants to be taken serious in everything.
And everybody, and it's funny that the fans want him to be taken serious. Like that's hilarious to me. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's obviously supposed to be like a satire character.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like, look at the man baby rage out. That's basically what it is. Like,
right. And I wanted to say earlier about MODOK and my thoughts on MODOK. Mm-hmm. I think the movie would have been better if MODOK was the villain. Now, the movie works as a setup. It's perfectly fine as a setup for the future and as a big kind of Avengers scope movie with Kang being the villain, and it sets up Kang perfectly and perfectly nice.
Yeah.
But Kang could have still been the Emperor Palpatine of the movie, with MODOK being Vader.
Yeah.
And I think MODOK would have worked better because he is it's someone from the past coming back to haunt them, to be like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I think if they really wanted to make him a villain, if they wanted to take him more serious, but also play on the fact that he's just a big head, they could have made him the main villain, and I think it would have definitely helped the movie feel better as a movie rather than a setup for the future.
It would have been really good too because of you're basically like, if, like, let's say MODOK was the main villain, like you said, you're basically like giving the hero, like giving us hope, giving Ant-Man a chance to win, right?
Yes.
You're basically like, oh, here's your hope, right? This is your hope to win. This is your, we can beat MODOK. He's beatable. You've already beat him.
Exactly.
And then at the end, it's like Kang comes in and the stakes just immediately go through the roof, and it's like, it's done.
Right.
You're not winning. That is a really smart thing I think that they could have done.
Could have easily done that.
But they obviously, I can't believe this even has to be said, but they obviously nerfed Kang like heavily in the final fight against Ant-Man. Because what were they going to do? That was the only way he was going to...
Now, I think he should have won.
Who, Kang? Yeah.
I think Kang should have won, and I think it would have impacted if Scott and Hope got stuck in the quantum realm at the end. Yeah. However, that would have been like, well, we already did this here or there. Yeah. However, they'd be stuck in a different way. It'd be a little different.
Yeah, that's true.
But it wouldn't make an entirety of sense because they have a way to get to and from the quantum realm now. Yeah, so I guess those stakes would be not there.
Yeah.
But I think Kang should have won because it could have set up like, I mean, this literally could have been to show that Thanos was nothing because Thanos won once. He won in Infinity War, and that's it. And then they beat him in Endgame.
Yeah.
Kang could win in this movie. He could have won in this movie, and then in Kang Dynasty, he could have won.
Yeah.
And to be like, oh, Kang Dynasty, we might get him then. Nope.
That's true.
No. Yeah, you're not going to get him. I think that definitely could have made the movie a lot better.
That's interesting.
The only thing I have left to say is the last post-credit scene with the Loki scene.
Yeah.
Got Loki and Mobius going to see a variant of Kang whose name is Victor Timely.
Yeah.
That's a fun tease for the show. I'm excited for Loki season 2.
Super excited for Loki season 2.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Loki is still, in terms of the MCU shows, is probably still the best, I think.
I think definitely objectively, I think it's definitely the best for sure. I will say this, I actually, now that you brought up Loki, I remember one thing I just saw, a rumor about Loki, that the plot of season 2 is going to be Loki and Mobius go around to different timelines, locking up Kang variants or destroying them or whatever. Basically snuffing out a bunch of different Kang variants.
Yes,
I like that. Which means that we could see Jonathan Majors in a bunch of different roles in Loki season 2.
I saw that he will be in 3 of the 6 episodes. So
that sounds great.
That's definitely 3 of those episodes is going to be going around getting Kang. Yeah.
Nice.
I like that a lot. I think now it is time to jump into some reviews of more recent things that have come out. Things that are happening this week, last week, that have come out.
Yeah.
It's Pedro Pascal frenzy. It's Pedro Pascal everything. He's everywhere now with The Last of Us coming out. It's currently airing.
Yeah.
And Mandalorian just started this week.
Yep.
We'll get to that in a second, but first let's talk about the most recent Last of Us episode.
Yep.
Now,
episode 7, right?
Episode 7, yep,
Yes.
and then 8 and 9 are coming out in these next few weeks, and we'll review those as well. This week's episode, to catch you up to speed on our thoughts on the show so far, first of all, I have played both Last of Us games.
Yes.
He has no idea what happens in either of the games.
The show is my first experience with the universe at all.
And if you know what happens in the second game, he doesn't know. That's all I'm going to say about that. I personally have really enjoyed the show as a game or as a fan of the game.
Yeah.
I'm thoroughly enjoying the show. It's taken some beats. It's taken some different beats from the game, but it's stood on its own feet and really paid homage to the entire game, the series. And I think actually up until episode 4, so 1, 2, and 3, when 3 came out, I literally was of the opinion that it could possibly be better than the game. But then 4 came out and I enjoyed episode 4, and I've enjoyed every episode since, but it so far is only on par with the game. And now, to say only on par with the game is still a massive compliment and a test to the filmmakers and these people that are on the show. But in my opinion, was going to be better, but they kind of pulled back a little bit, and that's completely fine. I kind of want to like the game more. I don't really want to like the show more than the game anyways.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, as someone who's played the game, I've enjoyed the show so far.
Yeah. As someone who hasn't played the game, I think it's one of my favorite shows probably, even though the first season hasn't even wrapped. It has enough content, I think, that I don't know, it's really made an impact on me a lot. I think episode 3 and 5 in particular were really big ones for me, I think. The Henry and Sam stuff, that was just crazy. And obviously the Bill and Frank stuff. But those were episodes that literally stood out so much because they were so bold in the approach of not only the content within the story itself, but the decisions that the characters make and stuff. They feel so real, even though it's like a zombie apocalypse and it feels so distant.
It's not like Walking Dead,
but it doesn't feel distant, at the same time.
Exactly.
It feels like fantasy, but it's not at the same time. Especially, and they convey that really well with the opening scene or whatever with the them talking about the outbreak potential with the heat rising and everything and stuff like that. That was a perfect scene, I thought, to start the show with, because it's literally building up that
an original
that
for the
dread.
show too. It's not in the game.
Yeah, it's building up that dread of, wow, that's bad, and it's literally factually, it's a little stretch, but factually, The Last of Us could happen factually because of
I mean, we literally
the mushrooms and stuff.
like
Fungi actually exists that can take over the brain and stuff that actually exists.
Yeah.
Just a little more evolutionized for the story itself.
Exactly. And I think the game is or the show, the show is doing a very good job at as doing the story.
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal is
as
amazing.
Joel, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think all the casting is really good, really strong so far.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have had problems with Bella Ramsey as Ellie and stuff. I really didn't have much problem with her at all, but she's definitely improved over the course of the season as a character and just in acting. I think I've really liked Ellie these last couple episodes a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Now, I think Ellie in the game is way better.
Okay.
I think she is 10 times better written in terms of, just her character specifically.
Okay.
I honestly think Ellie might be the weakest part of the show, honestly. But she is still very strong.
Okay.
So, Bella Ramsey, who plays Ellie, is really good. She's a really good actress, and she the complaints of her not looking or sounding like her, not worried about that.
Yeah.
There's just something about her that isn't as charismatic or fun about the game Ellie. Okay. I don't know what it is, because I don't have that problem with Joel. I think Pedro feels like the Joel in the game. I think they ooze the same amount of charisma and just character.
Yeah.
It feels like the same character.
Feels like the same character.
Yeah, exactly. But that's my only real gripe with the show so far is her, and I still really enjoy her. But I like what you said about it feeling real. It's compared to shows like The Walking Dead, which is very much like the future. It's there's zombies
the
everywhere.
apocalypse and everything. Yeah.
Still, from what I've seen, is a great show.
Yeah.
Well, up to a certain point.
Yeah, at some point.
But this is the special thing about The Last of Us is that it does feel like, wow, this is real. Like, it feels like these are real people going through this right now.
The decisions and stuff that the characters are put through, it's just, it's a lot, man.
Yeah.
It's literally traumatizing. Almost every episode, I feel like I've gained a new source of trauma.
Yeah. And speaking of the most recent episode, let's talk about that. That was episode 7. It was called Left Behind, and it was based on the DLC for the first Last of Us game of the same name, Left Behind. Mm-hmm. It did a really good job from a gamer perspective. It did a really good job condensing 8 hours, which is how long that part of the game is, into one 40-50 minute episode.
Yeah.
It did a really good job. Now there's a part in the game where you throw bricks at a car, and it's a fun little moment. And I think that could have been fun to have in there, where they just maybe throw a brick at a car, and it's that's
like a nod to it, kind of.
It's a nod to it. But this episode did a really good job condensing that 8-hour game into one episode.
Yeah.
It did a really good job. I think Riley was her best friend.
Yeah.
Riley was captured very well. Feels just like the game version.
Yeah.
They did a really good job setting it up. I personally almost think that this episode could have worked better as a first episode, to be honest. I think to see her first almost. I don't know.
Kind of start out with that Ellie exposition, get Ellie's character built first,
and then maybe we don't get callbacks to that until the episode 7 when it actually aired.
That is true, because this most recent episode literally probably could have taken place in a bunch of different points in the season, honestly, because like you said, it's the prequel game, right? The game the game about the game book.
Well, it's they put it in the remastered version.
Okay.
So it's a part of the story, part of the main story, but is a prequel to that. But it actually happens. It doesn't happen at any point in the game because it's a separate thing, but it's included in that. So.
But yeah, I think that they definitely could have, especially like you said at the beginning, fleshing out Ellie's character more. Could have even resulted in her being a little bit more well received and stuff.
Yeah.
Possibly getting that, that character arc forming and stuff. But I don't have any problem with how they did it. I thought it was a really good episode. Specifically the relationship between Ellie and Riley, right?
Yes, Riley. Yeah, that's her name.
Ellie and Riley. Their relationship was really well done, I thought.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I thought it definitely. This episode definitely made you see different sides of Ellie, specifically. I think because she's
very closed off.
Yeah, you see her with Joel, and that's like mainly the only person you see her with for a lot of the series. Like you do see her interact with a bunch of different people, but she's mostly interacting with Joel. And I think it's great seeing her, putting her in this environment where it's obviously a flashback. I think it's great putting her in that environment where she's, it's different, and we're seeing her before we met her and stuff.
Right.
I think that it's a real good way to flesh out her character arc more and stuff, get the exposition that we need and stuff for her character.
Yes, I agree. It did a really good job. So far the show is really good at making you care about people within one episode, and then just spoiler, but just taking them away. You know. Anyways, so that was the first Pedro Pascal show. The second one is Mandalorian. Now, before we actually dive into the episode itself, I just wanted to say that I think Mandalorian, even with its new season, is still like 1 or 2 in terms of Disney Plus shows. I think it still holds up in terms of it was the first Disney Plus original show.
Yeah.
For when it first came out, it was one of the first. And it's
what a time.
Still, when Mandalorian came out, that was crazy.
It's actually crazy. I actually didn't watch Mandalorian season 1 when it first came out. I watched it when season 2 came out. So I watched season 1 in preparation for 2, and then I watched 2 as it came out. So I didn't get watching the first Disney Plus show, But I did it with season 2, and it was pretty fun.
So. Watching season 1 when it was first airing was an experience. It was a lot of fun.
I remember hearing about it a lot.
I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I like Star Wars, but I am not like how I like Marvel, obviously. You know that. But it is the first Star Wars thing that I've ever watched and been like, I'm a fan of this. I like this. Even still, I watched the Obi-Wan show. I've seen a little bit of Book of Boba Fett. I think I watched the first episode of Andor, and all of it, I was like, I'm not that interested. Yeah. It's not. I mean, Obi-Wan I finished, but that's because I actually have an interest in Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Already that established connection.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that did a good job with their relationship, but that's a different thing. But that show isn't that good. Yeah. It's not amazing, but I think Mandalorian is still on top in terms of the Star Wars shows and Disney Plus shows. Yeah. It rivals. It's to me, its only rival right now is like Loki. Yeah, and
I think Loki will be it's gonna be harder because Mandalorian is getting a season and Loki's getting a new season in the same year. Yeah, I was gonna say with Loki season 2, it's definitely gonna catch up a lot more. I think with Mandalorian, but Mandalorian season 3, they have a lot set up. And there's a lot of different directions they could go, so it's definitely going to be exciting for sure.
Yep. But this new episode,
episode 1, premiere of season 3
of season 3. Yep. It was a good opening. It was a good start.
I thought it was a really good start. Yeah.
It opens with the Mandalorians they're like knighting. Kid to become a Mandalorian.
Yeah, it's showing the whole process.
That kid's definitely coming back. He's definitely coming back. It's showing the process of becoming a Mandalorian. Yeah. And then the ceremony is interrupted by like a giant like lizard dragon crocodile thing.
And they all pull out their blasters and just start shooting
at him. And he's like just taking it. He doesn't care. He can't feel it anyways. People are dying everywhere, getting eaten. And then a moment that I actually got chills for was when the theme plays and he comes in and Mandalorian comes in and blasts him. So good. Great entrance. So good. It's such a good entrance.
And the baby, when he lands and Baby Yoda.
And Grogu pops out. Yeah.
Ooh, that's such good.
Actually, I think it's so funny that if you watch all 3 seasons back to back, there's literally a really integral part of the story that doesn't happen in the show, and it's him getting Grogu back.
Yeah.
It happens in a different
In
show.
Book of Boba Fett, yeah. It's crazy what they did with that show, honestly. Like, that's off topic, but that show was literally just, let's throw some shit together.
That's Mando 2.5. That's like Mando season 2 2.5. Those are the only episodes I've watched are the first the second to last and the last episode because it was what I wanted to see of Mandalorian. Yeah. So if you haven't seen the new season so far, and you also haven't seen any Book of Boba Fett, watch the last 2 episodes, or even just watch the second to last episode of Book of Boba Fett, and then watch season 3, and you'll be all caught up.
Basically.
But it was a lot of fun. So it started with that. He comes and he blasts the big crocodile.
Yeah.
And then they go to what's the planet when they go Grief.
I don't.
Carl Weathers' character.
I don't exactly know the name, but it's the planet that he's always on. That planet.
Yes.
I forget the name of it though.
Well, it's been rehabilitated. It is now a thriving society. There's there's a moment in the episode where a group of pirates like pull up on an old bar, but it's a school now.
Yeah.
I liked the it feels very lived in. The environment feels very lived in. It feels
more colorful.
Like it's very colorful. They've got the statue of IG-88.
Yes.
It's very 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 lively.
Yeah.
And we get one of the only good things to come out of episode 9, which was Babu Frick.
Yes. His species or whatever is back, and literally the best thing to come out of the sequels probably was Babu Freak and like the memes surrounding him and stuff. I'm so glad his species has returned. They're like, I don't know, they're little funny little funny
guys.
You know?
It's literally all they are, little funny guy mechanic guys. Yeah, little grease monkeys. Like that's all they are. But and then after that, okay, what happens after that? It's so they go.
So they went to the planet. They met Carl Weathers.
Yeah. Well, at some point in the episode, they go.
I know they go to where Bo-Katan's at.
Yes. So at the end of the episode, they go to where Bo-Katan is at.
Yeah.
And she's in like a Mandalorian castle.
Kind of Mandalorian castle.
Yeah.
Sitting on the throne. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't like a super memorable episode, but it was definitely a good start.
Just a bunch of good moments I thought throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very very strong opening to the show, and I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Basically, I mean, I feel like it's basically setting up Mando becoming a Mandalorian fully again by going to the mines and stuff and Mandalorian, but they were destroyed and stuff, so he has to do whatever the challenges that the one woman said. But I'm pretty sure Bo-Katan is gonna be like trying to get in his way or something.
Yes,
because I think she's confirmed to be the villain of the show or the antagonist. Of the show.
Makes sense. It would make sense. Yeah. Oh, I just remember. So after when they leave the planet, they get chased by the pirates.
Oh yeah,
that's what happens. They get chased by the pirates, and like there's the big like moss covered, like the captain.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
It was all practical. They're all practical. That was really nice. But very fun new characters. Interesting storyline so far.
Returning characters and stuff. Everything.
He's got to retrieve something in order to become a Mandalorian again. So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good journey.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. We'll review every episode as they come out
for sure.
We don't have to talk too extensive on this since we already watched it and we've kind of already had our thoughts on this. But Cocaine Bear came out. What a trip! What a trip!
What a movie!
What a literal trip! Cocaine Bear was. A lot of fun. It lives up to the name. It's about a bear that does cocaine.
Yeah, the bear does cocaine.
Yeah.
I mean, you get what you came for. You really do. It's like, what are you going into this movie expecting is really the first question you should be asking.
Yeah.
If you're going in this movie expecting it to be the next Interstellar or something, you are going to be sorely mistaken, and I don't know why you even have that idea in your head.
Yeah.
You know? It's a fun, good, gory comedy movie, you know?
Yeah.
It's a good... it's good Cocaine Bear
does
movie.
a really good job. Yeah, exactly. It does a really good job at being exactly what it wants to be, which is just a fun, gory time with crazy premises.
Some people have said that they do spend a little too much time at the beginning, specifically building or centering it around the characters and stuff, and they wanted more bear gore action from the start. I can understand that.
I can understand it too,
because it did feel to me like they were like, oh, we kind of want you to care about these characters a little bit, and I was one of the mind that I just want to see the bear fuck everyone up. Basically.
Oh yeah, I did too. Yeah,
but nah, I think that they still handled the movie really well. The tone, the vibe of it all fit really well together.
Yeah.
Even despite the slower start and stuff, it really ramped up in that second and third act. I think it ramped up a lot, and the movie definitely benefited from it a lot. I think
it definitely could have been more crazy. It definitely could have been more Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
But I like that we got to know the characters a little bit because it added, like, it made me enjoy the movie more because I like these characters. Oh, I know I can relate to these characters a little bit, you know, they're these drug smugglers.
But they're not just like faceless names and stuff, you know?
Yeah. And I think the movie does a good job at just at giving small character arcs to these characters within a movie that doesn't seem like it needs anything like that. You know,
that's true. Very true.
I think my biggest gripe with the movie is Ray Liotta's character in terms of how first of all, rest in peace, Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
This being his last movie is crazy.
Yeah. Why?
He's set up as the antagonist of the movie at the end.
Yeah.
He's in the beginning of the movie, and he doesn't show up until the end. And the bear is treated as something that we need to get rid of. But then we find out she has babies.
Yeah.
And then they need, we can't kill something with babies. We got to bring in Ray Liotta's character, who, by the way, wasn't even that bad of a guy up until that moment.
Yeah.
He was literally taking care of his grandson up until that moment.
Yeah.
And that's all we knew about him.
Literally, yeah.
And so I think it's so funny to make him the villain at the last second just because, he's...
The bear, the bear can't be the villain, you know?
The bear, yeah.
The bear's not going to be the villain, so they got to have someone fulfill that antagonistic role.
Yeah, and then he gets this, like, spoilers, Ray Liotta gets his guts spilled out and he gets knocked off a cliff. But, no, Cocaine Bear was a lot of fun. Definitely recommend it if you are into... a lot of slashers and just ridiculous concept. It's really good.
If you know how to have fun and you enjoy life.
Yeah. If you like being happy.
Yeah, if you like being happy, go see this movie.
Yeah, you're not. I honestly, if you're disappointed with the movie, I honestly don't know what to tell you. There's nothing else this movie could have done to make you like it more.
Yeah.
It's about a bear on cocaine.
It is what it is. It really is.
It truly is what it is. But I think those are our thoughts on the most recent things that have come out. Now, I want to play a game. I want to play a little bit of a game. Unless you didn't have anything, right? You didn't have any more notes or anything? All right. Yeah, I want to play a game. I want to play Guess the Marvel Movie by the Review.
Okay.
This is something that I have also... A lot of my ideas came from the Weekly Planet podcast. Shout out. Those guys are great. I love them. I want to be a guest. It's a little hard. They live in Australia, so I don't know if that's going to work out. But anyways, I got this idea from the Weekly Planet podcast. And yeah, so literally that's all it is. I'm going to read you a review.
Okay.
These are all from Letterboxd.
Yeah.
I'm going to read you a review of a Marvel movie. It doesn't matter. It's a Marvel movie. It doesn't matter if it's MCU, old, new, whatever. Yeah. And you will guess what movie it is.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm going to use my phone for this because I don't want the photos to pop up on here of what I've got. Okay. So, let's see here. This first review is from Mr. Rick F. Dalton.
Oh.
That is who made this review. He says, Yawn Fest. Couldn't have been more dull. Switched off after an hour. Now, this could be a slew of things, but...
Switched off after an hour. Very insightful, Mr. Rick Dalton.
Yeah, very, very insightful. Insightful review.
Switched off after an hour. You know what? I'll take... Give me Give me the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Spider-Man
Okay.
1.
I like how you're thinking, because you're thinking good movie, bad review. I like how you're thinking. It is not.
Okay.
This is a half star for Logan. Yeah. This is a half star review for Logan. What?
That's a take.
That's crazy. You're crazy for thinking that. This next one is from Chuck Moneybag Emoji.
Okay.
This is a half star review. He says, the only thing that sucks more than this movie is its soundtrack. Now, think of the soundtrack. Soundtrack. That's a good hint.
Honestly,
I mean, there's so many.
I hope it's not the one I'm about to say. Bro.
There are so many movies there there's so many Marvel movies that are known for their soundtracks, Guardians films, stuff like that.
I think I'm going to go Guardians. I'm going to go Guardians of the
It's
Galaxy.
not.
Oh, it's not?
I'll give you one more chance though,
Okay.
just to think of another.
Known for its soundtrack. I feel like I'll just go the basic one, Avengers. Avengers Infinity War.
No.
Okay.
The answer is Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
yeah. I have a hard time believing that anybody doesn't like that movie.
Bro, half a star for Into the
Spider-Verse. The best, arguably the best Spider-Man
I
story.
need to see what you give in 1 star to 5 stars,
Yeah,
bro.
That's
Because
ridiculous.
that's wild.
This next one is a 5-star review.
Uh-oh.
It's from Dirk Diggler.
Mm-mm.
Wow, if you haven't seen the director's cut, you haven't seen the movie. I went years just watching the theatrical cut thinking it was great, but the director's cut blows it out of the water. Think a little bit more obscure on this one. So maybe good, maybe bad, but not in like the mainstream nowadays.
Yeah. So
it's director's cut. I haven't seen the director's cut of this movie. I just know that I know how my opinion on this movie.
I'm going to go more obscure.
Okay.
A little more obscure. Give me a Blade movie.
You're close.
Okay.
It's not Blade. It's the 2003 Daredevil movie.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
5 stars for that god awful piece of trash.
That better
That
be
movie-
a good director's cut.
I better be. I'm gonna watch that. We'll have to react to that director's cut of that.
That's crazy.
This next one is a 5-star review as well.
Okay.
It's from Daniel Taylor. It says, no jokes, no silly colors. This is a proper superhero movie. It takes this character seriously, and the antagonist actually scared me. It takes the main character seriously, and the antagonist actually scared me. Yeah. So.
Man, I feel like I'm off, but I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna go No Way Home.
No.
Damn. Okay, who is it?
This is Thor: The Dark World.
Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah. No
It takes
jokes,
the
no
character
silly
serious.
colors. It takes this character
The first one kind of take us serious.
Yeah, it did.
too.
Yeah. I think this person just didn't like Ragnarok or Love and Thunder, and they were like,
Bro, did he say no colors in that movie?
yes. The positive is that there are no jokes and no silly colors. I love gray movies. Yeah, that's
Dog.
wild. That's wild.
Saying I don't like colors a take for sure.
It's definitely one of the takes.
That's wild.
One
bro.
of the takes of all time, for sure. Okay, this next one is from Madfish124.
Okay.
It's a 5-star review. It says, Andrew is the best Spider-Man. Just rewatched and so good, especially if you like being in pain. Now, I said Andrew, but I'm not going to give away what performance this is implying. I said that because it could maybe not be what you're thinking of. I mean,
Dang, you saying that makes me want to go No Way Home again.
every single appearance that Andrew is in, there's pain.
Yeah,
There's
for
his
sure.
2 movies and No Way Home, his character's pain.
Just because of the way you described it, I'll go No Way Home again.
It's Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh.
I wanted to throw you off, but and I'm glad I did, because I knew if I said that and you just went off of it, you probably would have said Amazing Spider-Man 2, but I was like, I'm going to say this, and then he's going to be thrown off a little bit.
That's good, though. That's good.
Yeah.
5-star review for TASM 2?
I know. I don't think it's 5 stars, but I think we enjoy it.
Yeah, we definitely enjoy it more than the masses, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's the most... it feels like the most authentic Spider-Man story in live action.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree with that.
This next one is a half-star review from Tupperware Jr. It says, watched entirely on mute without subtitles, one of the worst-looking movies I've ever seen. So much endless CGI sludge. The few times characters actually have conversations in this movie come across as nearly breathtaking. Such a low bar, so much money. Now that could be anybody describing any MCU film.
I wanna say it's like a one that people think look good because of the. Wait, how many stars did you say it was?
It was half star. Yeah.
So, yeah, and he said he watched it on mute, and he said it has some of the worst visuals. So I'm gonna say probably has some of the best visuals.
It's a good assumption to make.
Honestly, you know what? Give me Doctor Strange. Give me the first Doctor Strange. Yeah.
Well, I will say, I'll give you a little point just because Doctor Strange's visuals in this movie are amazing, but it's not Doctor Strange. It's Infinity War.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. People have some takes, dude.
Bro, did he say that they barely talked or something like that in that review? Like,
yeah, he said
times that they did talk.
Hardly any conversation, and when they do, it is breathtaking. That's crazy because there's conversation all throughout the movie. But he did say he watched it on mute, so that makes a lot of sense. Of course you're not gonna.
He said CGI sludge.
CGI sludge. Yep.
Okay, man.
Yep.
I definitely want to be one of those hardworking people that put up my time and effort into making that.
Definitely.
For someone to call it sludge.
Yeah. All right. This next one is a 5-star review, and it says, and it's from Bry or Bree. I don't know how you say it. Okay. It says, "This is better than Quentin Tarantino and Stanley Kubrick's entire filmography combined."
You know what? I'm gonna go. So, I'll say this. I'll explain my thought process. Instantly, when you said that, I'm thinking, okay, it's got to be a top of the top movie.
Right.
So my head immediately goes to No Way Home and Avengers, right? But I'm not gonna go with my first instinct. I'm gonna say Spider-Man 2. Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
Is the movie it's talking about.
No, but it's High School Musical.
No way.
I had to throw that in there. I had to throw you off really good on that one.
That is really good.
I wanted to get you with that one. Okay. All right. No, there's no more like that.
That's a good review.
This next one is a 5-star. It says, most realistic and therefore terrifying villain in the entire MCU. The actors were fantastic in this.
Most realistic.
Most realistic and therefore terrifying villain in the MCU.
Someone realistic. Well, I'm going to say someone not realistic. Give me, what is Avengers Age of Ultron?
No.
This
one is... Now, I like that you chose that because that is a villain that could have been done way better.
Yeah.
It was Black Widow. They were talking about Taskmaster.
Wow.
Yeah.
Realistic?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Either they were talking about Taskmaster or they were talking about Dreykov. Either way,
I hope they're not talking about freaking...
Oh, yeah. I hope not.
Yeah. That is a take for sure.
That is one of the takes, again.
For sure.
This next one is a 0.5-star.
Okay.
It says, or it's from Sover IGM. Okay. It says, not Ant-Man or Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's the review. That's the review, is that it's not Ant-Man or Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I'm going to say Quantumania.
No, I'll give you another chance because that would seem like the obvious one, but this one is just like, why would they review this one like this?
Okay. Endgame. Avengers Endgame.
No, I'm gonna give you one more. I'll give you one more just for the sake of it, and it is a sequel.
It is a sequel.
It's a sequel of some kind.
Give me Captain America: Civil War.
You were so close. It's Winter Soldier.
Bro, I was gonna say Winter Soldier, bro. I was. Because my head was on Captain America now. I was like, I'm just gonna say Captain America.
It was half star, not Ant-Man or Ant-Man and the Wasp. What a crazy movie to compare to those two. This next one, also half star, from Christopher Nolan's Simp. That's the name of this person.
Okay.
Says, this marks the beginning of the downfall of the MCU.
Marks the beginning of the downfall.
So this movie came out and it was all downhill from there.
Give me Far From Home.
No, think early. Think like...
give me Incredible Hulk.
Not that early.
Okay, in between. Give me Iron Man 3.
No, but it was Phase 2. It was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh.
Yeah, so Guardians of the Galaxy, one of the best superhero movies ever made. It marks the downfall of the MCU. You've heard it here first.
I'm guessing because of the the abundance of humor in Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. But that's that's like the thing of Guardian, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that they're funny, that they have heart and humor. Yeah. I hate when people are happy. So it makes me so angry.
I mean, I'm just saying that's what that review sounds like that they're basing it off of.
Yes, it's definitely probably what they based it off.
Is that it's a more funny,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I almost want to believe that this one is satire. This next one is from Jacob Bell. We're putting you on the spot, Jacob. This review is for 5 stars, and his review says, Deadpool is best in this movie.
Deadpool is...
Bro, I hope it's satire. I hope to God this is satire.
Please don't tell me it's like X-Men Origins
Wolverine. It's X-Men Origins Wolverine. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. I really
Deadpool is best when he's not Deadpool.
Yeah, I love Deadpool when he's nothing like the character Deadpool.
That's hilarious. That's actually hilarious. Bro, them Letterbox.
Bro, they're...
I will say though, I think that a lot of Letterbox reviews are satire in some ways or whatever. At least that's the vibe that I get from Letterbox, is that a lot of people use it as like oh, this is satire, or let's, have a cool one-liner about a movie or something.
Right.
But that's definitely a interesting review.
All right, this next one is from End of the Trilogy. It's a 5-star review, and it says, 4th time watching this. First time by myself. What an experience.
4th time watching
this. The 4th time. This person went 4 times to see this movie. It must have been the greatest movie to ever grace the cinema screen.
Give me Endgame. Give me Avengers Endgame.
No. Dang. It would be a crime to compare this movie to Endgame.
Oh, so it's
yeah.
Okay. Okay, give me The Dark World.
It is Morbius. Yeah, a movie that I refuse to buy, actually.
Yeah, bro, that has to be satire.
Yeah.
For sure.
This is definitely satire. And then the last review that I have is a 1-star from Swee Roy. Absolutely terrible. Somehow significantly worse than I remembered. Say what you will about the MCU, but their movies don't waste time trying to stylistically look or feel like comic books. Now... This
has to be a Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, right?
I like where your head's at, but I also like that this guy said, I like comic book movies when they are not anything like comic books.
Yeah, that was very weird.
I like where your head's at, though.
I want to go on one of them, but let me think.
Yeah,
give me Spider-Man 3. Screw it.
You were close. It was Spider-Man 2. Dang. The one that's considered the best of the
Yeah.
trilogy is this guy thinks is absolutely terrible and stylistically tries too hard to look like a comic book movie. Sure, whatever that means.
How?
Whatever that
Because
means.
they have one shot of like the Spider-Man thing in the trash can. And
I
it's the same from the comics.
I guess so.
I
'Cause
mean,
there's-
it's a comic. It's a comic storyline, but
I know.
so are the characters. The characters literally are comics.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yep.
That's a very interesting take for
It's
sure.
very, very.
That was a
interesting
fun
take.
guess the Marvel by the review though. That was fun.
Yes,
Very fun.
hopefully we can do more like that. Maybe
sure.
some different games here and there.
Sure. I'll bring some next time too. I didn't bring any this time, but I'll bring some reviews next time and have you guess some too.
All right,
for sure.
all right. And now, what did we watch? This is our segment where we talk about the movies that we watch throughout the
Yes,
week.
sir.
This is where we get to plug our our Instagrams where
Yeah.
we review movies, which we will plug at the end of this
Yeah.
podcast. But for now, let's start. We're going to start after Cocaine Bear. So everything
Okay.
after Cocaine Bear.
Okay.
What did you have?
So the first one up is for me at least is Knock at the Cabin.
Okay.
I recently watched Knock at the Cabin for the first time. It's my first M. Night Shyamalan movie. I can keep it kind of brief. It's it's a movie for sure.
It was definitely a
The
movie.
plot advances, the characters do things,
Characters do things. That's for sure.
but it's a great. I think it's a good concept of a movie. Like it's a good starting concept, but I think it falls flat in a lot of areas. I think there's good stylistic choices, like not showing a lot of the kills on screen and things like that. There's good camera work.
Yeah.
There's good acting.
Definitely,
I just think that the writing self of the overall movie is not as strong as those other points and stuff,
Yeah.
which would have very much helped it a lot. And
Yeah.
the pacing is also kind of it's in some points, but
Yeah.
besides that, it was an okay movie. I wouldn't go out of your way to see it, but it's not.
Definitely.
From what I've heard, Shyamalan has made worse. So
Oh, he's made way worse. He made The Last Airbender, and that movie is unspeakable. Unspeakably bad. It's really bad.
yeah, Max.
The movie I have is I actually found this out on another podcast. I
Okay.
found this out on the Chuckle Sandwich podcast. Shout out.
Shout
This
out.
is Ted Nivison and Jay Schlatt's podcast. They suggested a movie called The Discovery, and this is a Netflix original film starring Jason Segel and Robert Redford and Rooney Mara. This movie is about a scientist who discovers evidence, real scientific evidence that there is an afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
And the premises of the movie is really good. The movie dives into some really, really interesting concepts at the end.
Okay.
And throughout the whole movie, they build up to this really interesting concept of what the afterlife is, how we get there, what it's like, and the movie ends. And I think with a different director, this movie could have been, maybe different writing and a different director, this movie could have been really good. I think someone like Nolan or Villanueva could have been really good. It
Okay.
could have definitely lived up to its potential.
All right.
Unfortunately, I did give it, I think, what did I give it? I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
That's what I gave that. It was definitely a good watch. Had some good character moments, some good acting. But all in all, a story that could have been definitely handled better by someone else.
Yeah. For comparison, I gave Knock at the Cabin a 5.5 out of 10.
Ooh,
So
I gave it like a 6. Yeah, I was
Okay.
I was generous enough to give it that extra point.
So my next movie that is up next is a older movie, came out in the 80s called Platoon. It's actually
I'm wanting to watch this, yeah.
war movie about the Vietnam War, and it was a film, man. I think honestly, I might have found one of the most underrated war movies because I don't hear anyone mention it in terms of like the goated tier war movies like the Saving Private Ryans
Right.
and the Dunkirks and
Right.
stuff like that. I don't hear it like mentioned in that tier, but I think it definitely should. The director himself is literally someone who served in the Vietnam War. So like, what better person to get the directing filmmaking experience from than someone who was literally lived the things that you're seeing on screen.
Right.
Charlie Sheen in an actual serious role is kind of a different change of pace from what you're used to seeing. I'm literally only used to Charlie Sheen on 2.5 Men.
Yeah.
So seeing him on an actual serious, meaningful role is actually really impactful. He's really good. But Willem Dafoe, this is
It was his breakout role.
Willem Dafoe in this movie he's so good in every single scene. It doesn't make sense how he's so good. It actually doesn't. And he has one scene in particular that is very iconic and very, very impactful. Very impactful scene. And Willem Dafoe's whole character, I think, is a really impactful one that stays with you after the movie. And
I think I know what scene you're talking about.
You probably do.
He's talking to another guy and it's just them two.
Oh no, but that is I think I know what you're talking about. That is another pretty good scene. He has a lot. Willem Dafoe has a lot of good scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
But the whole cast in general is really good too. There's a bunch of faces you'll recognize. Forrest Whitaker is in the movie.
Oh really?
Johnny Depp has a small role.
Oh my
in the movie.
God! What?
Yeah, there's some pretty big name guys in there. And overall, it was just a really good war movie. Best thing about it is it's a war movie about Vietnam. Barely ever shows Vietnam soldiers at all because that it shows that they weren't really the true enemy or whatever that the U.S. and really what the whole movie is about is that the enemy was who the men were fighting really, which was themselves on the inside and stuff like that, because the movie is really about the U.S. soldiers basically tearing each other apart from the inside.
Yeah.
And it's really impactful, I think, though, and the message really lasts with you for sure. I gave it a 9 out of 10, I think. Wow.
I'm definitely going to check that out. I have that on my watch list on my Letterboxd, so I'm definitely going to watch that.
For sure.
My next one that I watched is one of your favorites. It's Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
I had never seen Taxi Driver. The most I knew about Taxi Driver was that Joker pulled from most of it.
Yeah.
Really good. Really good character study. Travis Bickle is one of the most well-crafted characters that I've seen in film. It's a Martin Scorsese film. Who, by the way, has a cameo in the movie. I didn't even know it was him. He's the guy in the back of the cab.
Back of the
that's
taxi,
like, I'm gonna kill that guy.
Yeah, even I'm
wife.
pretty sure he makes some racist remarks as well in the movie.
Some very horrible racist remarks.
He's in a couple of his movies actually. Like I think he's in King of Comedy too. He's in a couple different of his movies. But
okay.
he has that big scene where he's like in the back of the taxi and everything.
It's a good scene.
My wife's cheating on me.
It's a great scene.
Yeah.
That's so good. It's like Travis realizing he's like, yeah. It's but it's really good. It can be viewed in two different ways. It can be viewed as everything in it happens.
Yeah.
Or it can be viewed in a much more cinephile, where it's like, the in-depth meanings and what really happens.
And stuff, yeah.
And it's the what's real and what's fake, and it has a very thin line of reality and fantasy. And I think this movie does a really good job of keeping you on the kind of in the dark on what's real and what's not. Yeah. As compared to a movie like Joker, where in Joker they literally show you what really happened and what didn't. So no, I gave this a 9.5 out of 10. Okay. It's really good. Great crime drama. Yeah. It's very, very good.
Yeah. I think it's I think the strongest point of the film is the overall writing is obviously phenomenal, and Travis is a extremely well put together character. But I think the bow on top is probably, for me at least, is Robert De Niro. Oh my God! And he just adds that. He's so good. He just adds that touch that I don't think anyone could have done quite as well as he really as well as anybody has ever done. I've never seen there are Travis Bickle characters, like the Jokers and stuff like that. There are those characters that there's more leniency in terms of their mental aspect and stuff with what you can do with them. But I think with what De Niro did with Travis was just, it's unheard of, honestly, and hasn't been replicated on the same level, at least, in my opinion. Yeah. But that's a really good film to watch.
The stylistic atmosphere of the movie is really good too. Even though it was filmed in the 70s, it feels like like a set, like the grossest part of New York, 70s New York.
Yeah.
You know?
That's actually a good point. They specifically filmed in a point in 1976, or not, I think they filmed in probably 75, but
Probably.
they picked a point in time or whatever when the trash was built up in New York so much that it was like right before they like cleaned it, basically right before they cleaned like the entire streets in New York and stuff.
Wow.
So they filmed right at the perfect time when it was like at its most dirty and stuff like that. So it really and what that's trying to do is that's trying to convey how Travis views the world. You're seeing the trashiness of New York. You're seeing it look like in its worst parts, basically. That's how Travis views the outside world. You know, he views them as trash and scum and stuff. And I think that reflects that, at least that stylistic choice, for sure.
It definitely reflects that.
For sure.
Yeah, but that was great.
Yeah. I guess I'll go into another Martin Scorsese movie with Robert De Niro, King of Comedy.
Oh yeah, the other movie that Joker's based on.
Yeah. The other movie Joker's based off. King of Comedy. What a film, man! Honestly, what a film. So I don't think that De Niro. He's definitely not as off the rails as he is with Bickle in terms of how the leniency, like I said, is there with like how they can really play with the character a lot. Travis is like the playground. Like you can do so much with him because, you know, he has these mental problems and stuff like that, and his character is so deep. King of Comedy's not exactly like that. It's a little different. It's more about the obsession with fame and like how obsessed people can get with celebrities and the links that they go to and stuff like that, which is surprisingly really relevant still today with how much like standing is a thing and people literally like kill themselves sometimes and stuff for these like celebrities that don't even know them. King Comedy, that's what makes it really relevant still today, which is part of the brilliance behind it. But obviously De Niro plays the main character who is literally obsessed with a comedian. He's really obsessed with a comedian. He follows his every move, wants to be just like him, basically. And
stand behavior.
Yeah, literally stand behavior. And it's so weird though, because it's like his character De Niro, he's like very awkward in how he handles himself around other people and stuff. He says what's on his mind. He says whatever, you know, because he feels like he has like some sort of social anxiety, kind of, where he's like he doesn't feel very comfortable or that experienced in social situations, and he just, it's very awkward. A lot of his scenes make you feel like that he doesn't know like how to interact with people really, and that really paints across the picture I think they're trying to go for. But where the movie really shines is in the ending when De Niro's character has this monologue, and it's actually the only part of the movie where he does actual stand-up.
Oh, okay.
Like actual stand-up for actual people, because he does stand-up but not for actual people throughout the movie. But when he actually does the actual stand-up, he has this monologue where he just goes on literally a 5-6 minute tangent about basically the character, basically what his motivations were, how he got there, and he has a lot of dark humor. That's like what his humor mostly consisted of, and he basically makes fun of a lot of like the bad things that happened in his childhood and his life. Like he makes a lot of jokes about his mom being like abusive towards him and abusing alcohol and stuff like that, and his dad doing the same and stuff like that. But I think it really shines with the line better be king for a night than schmuck for a lifetime or whatever.
Right.
That line really conveys what the character's all about, because he's literally like, I'll put everything on the line, even my freedom, to be on top for one night.
That's crazy.
And that's the thrill he gets and stuff from even getting that clout. He's literally a clout chaser.
He's a clout chaser of the highest proportion.
And I don't want to spoil, but it works. And that's kind of like the part of the movie is like, But
is it as good as Taxi Driver, you'd say?
I don't think it's as good. I think it's probably like a definitive step below it.
Yeah.
I think I ended up giving it like an 8.5 out of 10. Okay. Still a very good movie. Definitely would recommend. Very strong Scorsese film, but really relevant now and stuff. Yeah. Like I said, but just a good movie.
It definitely sounds like Taxi Driver and that combined are Joker.
Yeah.
You could tell where the inspirations all came from.
And it's even funnier that De Niro plays like the guy that all that culminates
That's why they got
into.
him. Yeah. That's why they got him, because he's Murray.
Actually, I saw a funny Letterboxd review where it said that De Niro's character in King of Comedy is actually the same guy in Joker, because they kind of fit, because the Murray show or whatever is like it's like a talk show, comedian show kind of, and that's what he wants to do in King of Comedy.
That's honestly not a bad like
connection.
Like
right
just
there.
Why not? You know.
And he already was doing kind of like psycho stuff. 'Cause I'm not gonna get into the like actual plot fully of the movie, but he does commit crimes in the movie, so it would fit kind of, you know, with the Joker universe and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good movie for sure.
Nice. I'm gonna lightning round these next two, just so I can get to the one that I actually care about, which is right after that. We watched at work the two Anchorman movies.
Oh, okay.
Classic. The first one is a classic comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Carell. Oh my!
He's like perfect.
He's hilarious. I think as a classic comedy, it really is backed up by the fact that it is a classic. Like the fact that it has so much like meme potential, and that it's so loved by people.
Yeah,
it definitely helps it. And the story is, I think what's so genius in the comedy terms of this movie is that the story is as dumb as its premises and as its characters.
Yeah.
It's about a news team that follows like a panda giving birth. And the movie culminates with at the zoo where the panda's giving a birth.
Yeah.
And it's like it's so funny because the story is just as goofy and is a good storytelling device within the movie.
Yeah.
That said, also the characters are way more interesting and way funnier, I think. That said, the second one is it's funny, it's fun. You can sit down and turn it on and laugh at it, and it's completely fine movie.
Yeah.
But it is definitely not as strong as the first one. It kind of prioritizes the comedy over the story, and the story is all over the place. It's almost I was like, I stopped watching when we were watching. I stopped watching and finished it here at home. But it was definitely not the worst comedy movie I've ever seen. It was quite enjoyable. It's just the story was very and I mean, to be like the story in the comedy movie is like not that interesting. Who cares? You know, it's a comedy. But I think in terms of the first one having its comedy and its story play as one thing and be like one, it feels like so fluid and it feels like part of the world. I think to have this story feel completely nothing. Like the comedy is that you can tell in scenes they'll do comedy and it doesn't feel, and then they'll go back into the story. Yeah. Instead of playing comedy within the story, you know? Yeah. That's the best way I can describe it, but I gave the first one I think like a 9 out of 10 and the second one like a 6 or a 7 out of 10, yeah.
I actually haven't seen the second Anchorman.
It's okay. It's all right. Yeah, it's an okay film.
That's nice.
I do want to talk about the one after that though, the one that I watched after that. I watched The French Dispatch. Okay. So real quick, The French Dispatch is a collection of stories. So it's actually 3. I know you've seen it. It's 3 different movies. It's 3 different stories put into one movie. That kind of is in the undertone of this larger story that kind of brings it all together on the outside. Yeah. It's a kind of a love letter to journalism, and it's got a stacked cast. Yeah. It's a Wes Anderson film. Yeah. I love Wes Anderson. I want more Wes Anderson. Yes. There is not enough Wes Anderson in this world. I love his style. It very much reminds me of both Bob Ross paintings and paintings in general. And it also reminds me of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, specifically the puppet sections and the trolley. I don't know if you've seen Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood or anything from that, but there's like
I think so.
miniatures and puppeteering and stuff. Yeah. It all is in these movies, and it feels like it feels like a painting. Every
Yeah.
specifically in this movie, every shot
Oh
feels
my
like a painting.
Gosh, bro.
And especially the first story, which I think is
love
the
the
strongest story.
Definitely the strongest. Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because they probably should have saved it for last, if anything.
Yeah.
But
Probably would have more impact as last, but
Yeah.
I still think that all three stories are pretty good.
everything feels like a painting.
Yeah.
It's every shot. There are moments, there are freeze frames when all the characters freeze, but the camera isn't frozen. All the actors stopped moving.
Yes,
and
I love that.
And you can
so
see because
much.
some people are like moving.
Some of them move a little bit.
And some people blink. Oh yeah.
Dude, I don't know what it is about Wes Anderson, bro, but his stylistic choices just excite me, bro.
There's such a the best way I think I can put it is it's got such childlike wonder and innocence and comedy within dark, like, real stories.
The crazy thing is how dark his stories can get. And it's also
Play it for
crazy.
comedy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's crazy how they can get dark out of nowhere almost. Like it's like oh yeah, this is happening, and then it's dark, and then it just goes right back to yeah, that happened.
A child was playing with a kitten and then they got beheaded. You know, it's kind of
Yeah.
like how that is.
And that happens in I think Budapest and French Dispatch, I think. But it's just honestly a kind of reflection of how life is itself. You know, life can be all hippie and all giddy and all that.
Yeah.
And then it can be bad, really dark, and then it can just right after that be really bright and giddy again,
Yeah.
because the world keeps on spinning. Very good. I think it's a really good stylistic choice of how he handles the darker stories and darker
Definitely.
things in his movies and stuff for sure.
Yeah, and I think French Dispatch isn't as good as Grand Budapest
Yeah, I
Hotel,
agree.
but because I don't know, I think the kind of three separate stories brings it down because one story's really good, the other two are
Yeah.
like okay, they're pretty good, but
Yeah.
they're not that good. And it kind of brings it down because
Yeah.
it's like, well, I enjoyed that story, but now I miss it. I miss
Yeah.
that one. I would love a whole movie of just that one story, but I think that's what Grand Budapest has over that is that it is one long story, and
Yeah.
it's so fun. That movie's so fun.
Such a fun adventure.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. But
Wes
French,
Anderson movies in general.
Oh, always, yeah. French Dispatch, definitely a movie you should check out. It's still really good. I gave it like an 8 or an 8.5. Definitely
I think
good
that's what I
watch.
give it to 8.5,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, that's a good rating. Good movie, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Wes Anderson, obviously, really good, really talented. I think my next movie would be probably Memento from
Bro.
Christopher Nolan.
Yes. Yep.
What a film, bro. So I'm to get this out of the way. I'm kind of like the Nolan fanboy, I guess you
Yeah.
could say.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really love
Definitely
Christopher
the Nolan guy over here.
I really love Christopher Nolan, and it's my first time watching Memento, which is, I think, his oldest film. I think it's like his oldest like standalone film
yeah.
or whatever. And man, does it hit the way of storytelling of just who thought of it was obviously like Christopher Nolan.
It was
and stuff,
obviously
but
Christopher.
Who can think of the idea to tell a story backwards, bro? To play a movie backwards in reverse
And have it be as
and have it be coherent and good, and how good it is, and but also have that second storyline at the same time that goes into black and white, which, by the way, how he brings that black and white storyline to meet the color storyline by having the picture fade, bro. Such a good movie on every stylistic technical aspect. I think it very very much shows what was to come, at least, of Nolan's filmography, and what the greatness was there from the start. I think that's what Memento really shows, is that Nolan had the greatness in him from the beginning, and he's carried that to Oppenheimer. Comes out this year, obviously, so he's carried it all the way here. And Memento has some of the best stylistic choices that he's ever used, with the second storyline going in the black and white and obviously telling it backwards and stuff. The whole tattoos on the body and stuff.
Right.
All really good, not only really good looking in terms of like the shots and stuff, even though it wasn't the most well looking Nolan movie, it was still a fairly good looking one, it didn't have moments where I was like, whatever, I was kind of pulled out of a scene or anything.
Right.
Had very, very good colors, very good cinematography. It looks good, just not as Nolan-esque of some of his later works and stuff like
Right.
that. But still, I think the genius is definitely in that storytelling, and that you never know what's coming next, and that they put you into the place of Guy Pearce's character, the main character, and it really makes you feel, the audience, like you don't know what's happening, like you can't remember stuff, and the movie, its genius, I think, will come in even more when I rewatch it more, and I pick up on something I didn't pick up before, like a little detail or a little hint or whatever. I think that will make the movie shoot up even more for me. I think I already gave it a 9 out of 10, I think. So
Yeah, that's what I gave it to.
And I think upon rewatch, it could even be higher, honestly.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I've said it's a great movie forwards, but an amazing it's like an amazing comedy backwards. It's like
like how chronologically it takes place. Yeah.
yeah, like how they do it.
Yeah.
It's like a great comedy backwards,
Yeah.
but forwards, it's a great
yeah.
drama movie.
But I definitely get the praise and stuff for sure.
Yes. If you want, I only have 2 movies left that I watched. So if you want, you can like.
I'll go through some more of mine. The Witch from Robert Eggers. I watched that recently. Really hit, to me at least. Some people consider the Lighthouse horror, but I don't really consider the Lighthouse horror.
I don't either.
So The Witch to me is his like only horror film. This is Eggers' horror film if you want it, you know, and it's a period piece too. So it's set in I don't even know the time period, like 1500s, 1600s, early American settlement days, and it's obviously about a witch. The thing that stands out the most with almost any Eggers film is the cinematography. Every shot looks like
so
it was
good.
perfectly crafted, perfectly set up.
Yeah.
It looks like every character was like specifically like everything looks so well designed, well made, and everything. There's a great silent laughing scene. I'm a very big fan of silent laughing scenes. I think they add a really good sense of suspense and dread that some other scenes don't capture. And it's not, and obviously silent laughing is just an iconic thing in thriller and horror in general. And Eggers applying those like, I don't know, him applying those like past ideas and techniques to like modern films and stuff even makes me think more highly of him. The acting is phenomenal. Probably Anna Taylor-Joy's best role, in my opinion. The parents, I think Ralph Ineson is the dad of hers. He's like literally amazing in the movie. He's so good. And I don't remember her mom's name, but she's from Game of Thrones, and she was good in Game of Thrones, but she was really good in The Witch as well. Just a really good story, and it is scary on. It's not I won't say it's like the scariest of movies, but it's a horror film that is scary, and it fills you with more of dread than anything. More, you're scared for the characters more so than like you're terrified yourself.
Yeah.
But there's some crazy stuff that goes on in that movie though. It's definitely a film you got to watch, and the music also. Eggers always has good music in his movies usually too. Yeah. Very good suspense building music, making you feel it in every scene. It's really good. Really good use of colors.
Wow.
Even though there's not a whole lot of color usage because it's not a time period exactly where there's meant to be colors.
It's very
but
dreary.
He does suck the color out of it in a good way. In a way that fits the tone. Yeah. And definitely a good film. I think I gave it 8.5 out of 10, I think. Something like that. Maybe 8.
It's the only Eggers film I haven't watched. I gotta get on that.
Yeah, for sure. You want me to go again?
Yes.
Okay.
Considering I only have 2 left, and you have.
Okay, I have a couple more.
You've got a few, so you can go.
So the next one would be Enemy from Denis Villeneuve. I'm not sure if this is his oldest film, but I think it might be. It came out in 2013. Jake Gyllenhaal is the main character, and he does play. He plays himself, but like he plays 2 different characters. Let's just say that he plays 2 different characters, and it's a very mind trippy, cerebral kind of film. Very Nightcrawler-esque, which is funny because Nightcrawler comes out a year after that movie does.
Wow.
But not Nightcrawler in terms of like per se like Jake's demented acting, more so in terms of like how cerebral and crazy the movie actually like is. But the thing that it differs from Nightcrawler is like, wow, this can be like a really fucked up guy in person, right? Enemy's not exactly like that. It's like this couldn't happen in person, like in real life probably, but it's still very creepy. It's a thriller. It's very much a thriller movie, and it fills that role perfectly. And the ending, bro, is one of the weirdest endings you will ever see in any movie. You'll sit after like you'll probably sit with on that blank screen for like a couple minutes after the movie's done, just like, what I just watched, bro.
Yeah, wow.
Honestly, that's honestly how the movie. That's how it makes me feel. I think I gave it also an 8.5 out of 10. I think one of my favorite. One of my more favorite Villanueva films.
Yeah.
I've only seen. Actually, I think I'm only one away from having his whole filmography up to date. Wow. But he has a strong collection of movies, obviously. Yeah. But that one definitely fits right in. I think it's a puzzle. It really is a puzzle you're always trying to solve, but it's basically unsolvable.
Okay. Yeah, I love when movies make me question why I watched it. Though, like, why did I just watch?
I guess the next one could be All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yes, you watched some nominated Oscar movies.
I had to get caught up in these nominations for sure. But All Quiet on the Western Front was a big one because I've heard a lot of praise for it. It's a huge war movie. It's actually a German movie if you don't know. Has the whole audio language, all of it. It's German.
Wow.
It should be watched in German most likely. I couldn't imagine watching it any other way.
Yeah.
But
it's like Squid Games watching that in English.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Oh my.
Yeah.
But no, All Quiet on the Western Front, it's a war movie about World War One, I believe. Pretty sure it's World War One. And it's World War One. And it's about the Germany side, which is obviously it's a German movie, but it's about the Germany side, and that is already from the bat, that's a great thing to go from, because you never, or at least here in the West, we never see war movies from what we would view as the enemy side of history, you know? Which, to be fair, Germany was the enemy kind of objectively back then. You know,
objectively they were.
But the thing is that the movie, it doesn't try to at all justify anything that Germany did as like a country or as a government or whatever, because that's obviously unjustifiable. But what it does justify is the men and stuff, that the boys more specifically that the movie follows, that didn't agree with the crazy, racist, xenophobic things that Nazi Germany did, but they didn't have a choice in it. They were told that, fighting for their country and going to war is like the honorable thing to do. They were told that they were doing the right and honorable thing, So it's not exactly black and white, It's not exactly they're the bad guys, we're the good guys. And that movie tells it to you, man. Mm-hmm. And it looks really good. The movie looks insanely good. Like not only like the big war sequences, those are obviously like big and important because it's a war movie. Yeah. They're really well shot. The camera, there's so many long takes, which I appreciate so much, bro, because I hate when a movie's just cutting. When the cameraman's just consistently cut. This movie is literally long take after long take after long take. And so I'm nice. Like, bro, it's beautiful. And in the camera, there's good camera movements too. The camera will move with the actors a lot of time, or it will stay and let the actors move away. It does a lot of different things. I think the camera work was really phenomenal, and the color usage was also really well done in a war movie. You might not expect to see the best of color, but the nature, I think, of France, which is where they're fighting at, is really brought out. Also, Zemo is in the movie as well. The guy who plays
Daniel
Zemo.
Brühl. I saw that. I looked up the cast.
And he's basically he's in the German government, but he's plays like a good guy kind of. Like he's trying to be like, yeah, I know what the country did and stuff is messed up. I'm just trying to get the war over with and get us on our right path and stuff. And I thought that was also it was really nice seeing him. Like, hey, he's so good, and he's a really good actor. Every scene, perfect.
Need more Daniel Brühl.
But that movie in general, I honestly, I don't know that you have to watch it. The message is just one that you have to experience, and it absolutely deserves Best Picture nomination. Yeah. 100%, it deserves the nomination for Best Picture.
I'll have to check it out before this weekend.
For sure.
Yep.
Okay, do you want to...
I can go ahead and go my next one. Okay. I watched The Whale with Brendan Fraser. When this first, came out, I was like, yes, it looks really good. It looks like a great movie. I think this movie's best thing is its acting. That is undoubtedly the best thing about this movie is the acting from all of its actors. Hong Chow, Sadie Sink,
Yep.
The actress that plays the mom, I can't think of right now. Oh, Samantha Morton, all really good. Ty Simpkins, really good.
Yeah.
Everybody does a great job in this movie, but Brendan Fraser is literally a beast in this movie.
Yeah.
He is. He's so good. It's honestly crazy because he transformed literally in this fat suit. He's in a 600-pound man's body, and he's carrying all this weight, and he's so. It might be a little rude to say, but it's what the movie wants you to feel is he's grotesque.
Yeah.
He is disgusting
Yeah.
as a person, but he has made himself be this way.
Yeah.
He suffers a tragic event in his life, and he gains a whole bunch of weight.
Yeah.
Like a whole bunch. He's 600 pounds in the movie.
Yeah. And the movie doesn't hold back either with some of the grotesqueness of like his behavior with the eating scenes and stuff. A lot of times, it's a lot of them are hard to watch for me, man. Like when I was watching it, I was like, "This is hard."
Yeah, I felt the exact same way. Going into it, I heard people be like, "It's disturbing, it's unsettling, it's hard to watch," and I was like, "I don't really. How do you get that with a big fat guy in a movie? You know, he's sad. He wants to reconnect with his daughter." I underestimated that so much because he is. There are some unsettling or disturbing scenes of just him eating.
Yeah.
And not even in his, like when he's showering, I don't really care. When he stands up, I don't really care. It's purely when he's eating.
Yeah.
Because it makes me feel gross. Because I'm not the healthiest guy. I don't eat things that I should eat. But I'm also not as heavy as him. My metabolism, thank God, it helps.
Yeah.
But it makes me feel like that, you know. It just and it almost makes me want to eat better, you know. Definitely. And I think that's definitely the strongest part of this movie is the acting and the relationships of the characters. Brendan Fraser as Charlie with his daughter, very strong. Sadie Sink gives a really good performance. People were saying that she's probably her best performance. I can agree with that. I don't think it's any better. I don't think it's like immensely better than her in Stranger Things, but it is definitely better than that.
To me, I don't think it's. This is just being honest. It's not a whole lot different from her role as Max.
It's not. Yeah, it's not different.
But it has more impactful emotion in terms of not only her acting has more impactful emotion, but the writing around her character and the story in general has more realness to it. Because obviously, Stranger Things, as good as Stranger Things is, it is clearly a fantasy.
It's very fantasy.
And it's it's very very much portrayed that way. The whale is. It happens. I mean, the whale literally happens in real life and stuff. You know,
all the time.
Obviously, some of the stuff was definitely dramatized and stuff for the movie bits, but. The message and stuff, the point remains that that emotional impact is not there in some of her other works in general, because she's also in a Netflix movie called like Fear Street or something, and her acting in that still doesn't compare to The Whale. I don't think, though her acting in The Whale is definitely her standout for me.
Yeah, it's I think where it suffers the most for me is Ty Simpkins' character. Definitely felt like they were going somewhere with that, and then they kind of dropped it. Like they dropped it in not the sense of like they forgot, but like in the terms of they set him up as maybe he was gonna have an arc of like full circle. He's this religious kid that keeps coming to Charlie's door and trying to talk to him about God.
Yeah, and
there's the whole plot of the movie revolves around how God has failed Charlie basically. He doesn't believe in God. Or at least he doesn't believe what people that believe in God say, and doesn't like what they do. And it seems like they were going to come around on that with Ty Simpkins' character, have him see his point of view instead of forcing this thing on him. And eventually they get up to a point where it's like, oh, he's going to come around. And then they kind of dropped it. They were like, nope, just kidding. And I didn't really care for that. It felt intentional. Like, it definitely felt like they were like making you think that, but I didn't like it because it just didn't feel right. You know, it didn't feel.
Yeah.
It honestly didn't feel real because
I
he's
understand
a
that.
kid. He's still impressionable, but at the same time, he doesn't know anything. He could still be turned around by somebody's real life experiences, like Charlie when he tells him about it.
Yeah.
And it honestly doesn't make a lot of sense to me for them to treat that character like that, to have him think that way still.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think a lot of the points that brought down the movie a little bit for me was his character, or revolved around something to do with his character. I think the standout in the movie, at least besides Brendan Fraser, of course, he's like the guy of the movie,
man,
the
yeah.
star. I think the one that surprised me the most though was Hong Chow.
Oh, she's so good.
I don't know where she's been, but the Menu and the Whale, like,
Yes.
she's going crazy because she's had two really good roles that I've really liked.
Yeah.
And have been low-key kind of like the behind-the-scenes kind of star of both her movies that she's been in.
Definitely.
And I'm excited for whatever she has coming out next, for sure.
But I gave the Whale probably a higher score than it really deserves, but I give it an 8.5 purely because acting for me is a big thing.
Yeah.
And if an actor is good throughout a movie, I can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Even if it's not that great.
I also thought the ending was really good too.
The ending is so good.
The emotional build-up and stuff, and just all the emotional appeal around the ending, I definitely see.
I didn't cry. I cry easily at movies, and for some reason I didn't cry at this.
I didn't cry this one either.
The ending is so good, and it almost made me cry.
It almost made me cry too. I will say that.
Yeah.
I also, that one line that Fraser said, that one really good line, not one, but a really good line delivery that he had that stuck out to me was when he yelled at Sadie Sink or something like that, and he was like, I want to make sure that my life hasn't been a waste, or I haven't wasted my life, or something like that.
One good thing in my life.
And he was like, he had like the cry, like teary eyes and stuff. That line delivery has stuck with me, man. That stuff was so good.
That, and for me, the scene when she leaves the house.
Yeah.
And he's like, the scene where he's like, you forgot your journal and stuff.
Yeah.
She comes back to get it, and she like, I just die already.
Yeah.
That's so good because she clearly is like upset, obviously, duh. But he is still like, I love you, you're amazing.
Yeah.
You know, he's still like,
he literally
you're my
like
daughter,
sees like all the best parts in her and stuff.
Doesn't see any bad in her, even when she's treating him the way she does. Yeah. Honestly, better than I think a lot of people are giving it credit for, but definitely could have been better.
Yeah. And
could have handled better.
Brendan Fraser is the best actor.
Yeah, if he doesn't win Best Actor, we'll talk about this next weekend.
Yeah,
we'll do a whole Oscars predictions, but
for sure.
Just saying now, Brendan Fraser better get Best Actor.
He deserves it, for sure.
Yeah, he 100% deserves it.
Been a good movie, good review, for sure. Next for me would be one I watched today, actually, Triangle of Sadness.
Okay.
Another Oscar-nominated movie for Best Picture. I'm not exactly sure why it's nominated for Best Picture, but that's not because it's bad. It's actually a pretty good movie. I think I ended up rating it a 7.5.
Okay.
Maybe 7 out of 10, something like that. But it feels a lot like The Menu to me. It's a lot like The Menu, and I don't know if you've seen White Lotus, but
no.
A lot like a HBO show called White Lotus. It's a very eat the rich themes.
Yeah.
It has a lot of eat the rich themes in it, like a lot of rich people bad themes, which isn't a bad one. It's not a bad theme. They do it well because rich people are bad. But
let's put that out there. Rich people are bad.
Yeah, but this show, or this movie in particular, it really like didn't hold back, and in terms of like just letting the wealthy people really have it, you know?
Yeah.
And they really got it. It was really divine retribution. They got what they deserved, and what goes around comes around. And also was good because it was very like pro lifting up the working class as well.
Yeah,
you know, which is I think the best way to do a movie like Eat the Rich kind of theme is don't just make it about dragging down the upper class. Make it about bringing up the lower class.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
Propping up workers and stuff. And that movie does it really good. I think that it does have some issues with the first and third act, basically the outside parts of it. It starts a little slow, could build up to a lot of the funnier and better moments, and then the third act is a little bit more of a mess. But and it does drag the film down a little bit, which hence why I don't know why it's nominated for Best Picture, but nonetheless, still a good film, great one to watch. It's relevant because it was just made, so
Yeah, right.
pretty good. I mean, it's an alright movie,
Right.
pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Woody Harrelson's in it.
Is he?
Yeah, he has a small little role. He's pretty funny.
That's
in it.
funny.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Do you have another one after that, or?
Yeah, I think I have two more. Let me see. I have, three more. Three more.
Why don't you do two more, and I only have one more, so you do two more, and then we can both end on one.
Okay, next I'll do Tar, another Oscar-nominated movie.
Best Picture, yep.
Very, very, it's a good movie. This is a good movie. Start out by saying that I rated it like an 8 out of 10, I think. Not as highly as other people. It didn't clear the clouds of cinema, as Martin Scorsese would say, but it was a good movie. Very good Kate Blanchett performance of Lydia Tarr, who is a real life person. EGOT award winner, stuff like that. Very renowned, but it shows that, those awards, they don't tell the story of like who a person really was,
Right.
or at all, really.
They really don't, yeah.
And it shows that because I went to the movie expecting like, oh, this is just going to be about like a really good woman, Lydia Tarr, who was a really good composer or whatever, and she, was really good and all that stuff, right? It's not really about that. It's more so about like how she wasn't exactly that good of a person, to be honest, and had a very large ego, and her being so successful and so like famed and stuff like that, so famed and all that, esteemed, definitely was like the major theme of the movie was that she's like this successful person, but not a good person, really. Yeah. And she's also so she has a girlfriend, right? And she cheats on her very loyal girlfriend who also works for her like many times throughout the movie too. She's like not a good person at all.
No,
but it's a good movie. I also am not sure if I would nominate it for Best Picture, but it's a good movie.
There's always movies like that.
There's good cinematography in it. It looks good. Colors are good. Acting is really great, mainly by Kate Blanchett.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you really expect? You're watching the movie for, it was good. And then like I said, I gave it an 8 out of 10, I think. And then my next movie would be The Departed, which is another Martin Scorsese movie. It's Leo, with Leo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson. Stat cast, actually. Mark Wahlberg in a good role. Bro, if you want to see a good Mark Wahlberg role,
crazy,
watch The Departed, bro.
Crazy.
You'll be so hyped. I'm not even joking. It'll probably be the first time in your life you're hyped to see Mark Wahlberg.
I don't think I've ever been hyped to see Mark Wahlberg.
But it's definitely a good movie. It's it's like a puzzle movie. It's ever moving. The plot's ever moving. It's all about information, like what character knows what, and stuff like that. And it's also like, oh, who's gonna backstab who and stuff like that. It has a lot of those elements into it. It's about the Irish mafia and stuff. So, and Jack Nicholson is the villain. He's the Irish mob head or whatever, and he's perfect as it. Literally, he's a gross, demented mob head, which is exactly what he needed to be.
Classic Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Gross and demented.
Matt Damon plays really a role that you probably wouldn't expect him to play.
Really?
I'll say this, he's the reverse of Leo DiCaprio. People who watch the movie definitely will understand what that means. Once you watch it, you'll definitely understand what that means. But it's definitely a complex movie for sure. Ever moving with a good strong theme and good strong overall writing, and the tension building is so good. I don't know if it's because of the Leonardo DiCaprio line delivery or the Scorsese directing, but either way,
probably both.
Probably both. And the music is also really good too. And that ending was perfect ending to that movie, bro. Couldn't have finished it any better, for sure. I think I ended up giving it a 9.5 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
My last movie that I've got, I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but it's the first Scream movie.
Yeah.
I'm not a big slasher or horror guy.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen Freddy Krueger. I haven't seen Halloween. I haven't seen any of those. Scream, I think, was the first one I've ever watched. and it's honestly probably, from what I know about the other ones, it's probably the best crafted slasher movie. Just from what I've heard and what I know. It's because it's what I like about it is that it's a slasher film. Technically it is a generic slasher film, but it is a generic slasher film that is meta, and meta in a way that uses it to its advantage. It literally, the story uses meta-ness as a plot device, and it's so good. And I think that's what makes it so perfect, because the twists are what you expect, but not what you expect. And how they do it is not what you expect, and who it is isn't what you expect.
Yeah.
Have you seen the first Scream movie?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so it is really, obviously it's just a killer going around killing women, killing people, and you, at the end, you learn who it is, you learn who is all behind it and everything. And I think this movie, knowing that there are sequels that are poorly received, I think this movie would have been perfect as a standalone film, and it could have ended the trope of having so many sequels after every slasher film gets done.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, we need one good slasher film, and then that's it. Don't do
Not
anything
everything
else.
needs a sequel.
Not everything does. But I think this is probably the perfect slasher film, because not only does it balance its kills out with its or not only does it has good kills, it balances the kills out, and like the gore and the stuff with a good story. And that's very rare in this genre.
Very rare.
Especially with the new Halloween movie, the one where they didn't have Michael or what's her name? Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie
They didn't
Lee
have
Curtis, yeah.
They're barely in it.
Yeah.
They're hardly even in it. So stupid. But no, Scream was really good, and I give it about an 8.5. It's definitely, if you are interested in getting into slasher movies, definitely watch this first.
Yeah.
This is definitely the one to start with, because it talks about and makes fun of everything you already probably know about slasher films. Literally the most basic things, and makes fun of it.
Plus Shaggy's in it too.
Matthew Lillard is in
Matthew
it.
Lillard.
Yeah, Call comes back around to Matthew Lillard. We talked about him earlier for the Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah, we did, yeah. No, he's great too. He's really good in this, and the whole cast is really good. The acting, it's they talk about how there's poor acting in all slasher films. This movie is really good acting.
Yeah.
It's really good. I definitely recommend it if you want to get into if you want to get into slasher films. Definitely recommend it. And if you have somehow not watched it and you are a slasher fan, that's crazy, and you should probably have already seen it. But no, that's Scream for me.
Yeah. Okay. So my last review would be for 2001: A Space Odyssey.
All right, take us home.
The Stanley Kubrick. I honestly think it's his most highly regarded film. There are a couple other ones that I know of, like Clockwork Orange, but I don't think anything is as highly perceived or received as 2001: A Space Odyssey. Came out in 1968. 1 year before the actual moon landing took place, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
A lot of the things were not known.
Yeah,
at
it just
the time.
proves that it was staged. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, a lot of the sci-fi films, which this film obviously inspired, that came after it, have taken a lot of inspiration from not only 2001: Space Odyssey, but also real life space, and just how it works and everything, and how astronauts are and how they behave and stuff. A bunch of space movies have done this. A bunch of sci-fi movies have done it.
Yeah.
Almost every single one, honestly. But the thing about 2001 is it had nothing to go off of. It didn't have a 2001 to go off of.
Right, exactly.
That's not the whole beauty in it, but that is a big part of the beauty, is that you see that this movie, which by the way, probably the best looking movie I've ever seen.
Really?
The fact that this movie came out in 1968 makes no sense to me. It looks like a movie that came out yesterday. I'm not even joking.
Wow.
From a lot of the props to how the movie magic that was used, to the coloring of planets, to how they look, to even the themes and stuff. A lot of the stuff I've never seen anything like it, and the fact that they had nothing to go off of Literally nothing is crazy to me. And they literally colored in Jupiter. Bro, how did you
Colored in
yeah,
Jupiter?
like they literally like had there's this one beautiful shot, bro, where they have the solar system. One of the main planets that they go to in the movie is Jupiter, and there's one shot where it's literally Jupiter's like in front, and it has just a line shot of all the planets, and it's basically like Jupiter and all the planets like lined up perfectly behind it, and it's just a really beautiful shot. But that's not even like, I'm going into like the looks and the technical aspect. That's not even the best part of the movie. To me, I think that the most standout part of the movie is the story itself, because the story itself leaves so much room for interpretation, so much room for questions than rather answering. It's a very unique way of storytelling in that there are so many throughout the almost, I think, 2 hour 2.5 hour runtime of the movie. There is not a lot of dialogue. There's not a lot of dialogue at all, honestly, really.
Wow.
You almost go, I kept track. You almost go through the first hour of the movie with barely any dialogue at all. And you go the first 20 minutes without any, for sure, like for 100%. It's very stylistic, very unique in terms of the choices, and there's a lot of ambiguity because there's not a whole lot of dialogue. There's not a whole lot of explaining the narrative. Yeah. There is a narrative, there is themes, there is writing there. There's a villain, there's everything there. But it's not exactly explained to you in a conventional standard way that like, oh, main character is from this, their motive is this, they're doing this and stuff like that. It's more like it's revealed to you in very subtle, and by very subtle I mean super subtle ways, or it's just not revealed to you at all, and it's up to your interpretation of the movie, or just your questions in general and what you envision for the movie. And the ending is probably what brings it all together, as it's literally the most like ambiguous ending ever. Like, you can basically decide almost so much that happens in the movie just based off how you view what happened and your interpretation of the movie. It's actually insane. It has some of the best looking space scenes ever, even compared to Star Wars or Interstellar. It has literally some of the most brilliant looking space scenes, and it has probably one of the best villains that I've ever seen in film. And he doesn't even have a face. The villain his name is Hal, and he is an AI. He's an artificial intelligence, and he is a red dot. He's literally a red dot, and it is the most menacing. It is the most menacing, minuscule amount of an antagonist I've ever seen. Like, there's no antagonist that gives you so little, but so much of information and character that it's actually crazy. And the AI in a lot of parts of the film, the AI reflects humans because humans made the AI, obviously.
Yeah.
So a lot of its character and stuff and themes play into humanity and stuff like that, and humans' problems. And there's even more than that. There's the monolith. There's so many things to interpret with the film. The intro alone is interpreted in so many different ways, with starting from the beginning of humanity, with like all the guys dressed up in the ape suits and stuff, and they're all
yeah.
But from beginning to end, it is truly a piece of storytelling I don't think can ever be replicated or even semi-copied. Like, even you can't copy a movie like that, because if you are, it'd be just so plainly obvious that there'd be no reason to make it.
Right.
And I think that I definitely think that it stands up to the test of time. It's more relevant now than ever, I think, especially with AI and everything. That wasn't even a problem in 1968. No one even thought about artificial intelligence being an issue at all. This movie handles or talks about, in honestly a lot of detail about the problem of AI. And that's not even a situation we are even at yet. In 2023, we're not at that point of AI where we have to worry about it yet.
Not yet.
And it's crazy how relevant a movie that came out in 1968 really is. I think the ambiguity of it, the genius of not only the cinematography, but the movie magic and the Kubrick filmmaking techniques in general definitely make me want to check out his filmography a lot more. I've obviously heard so much praise about his filmography. I just got to check it out more. But I have nothing but praise to say for 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Wow.
I gave it 9.5 out of 10. But I originally gave it 10 out of 10. But I was thinking, honestly, I honestly don't know if you can appreciate this movie like enough on your first watch of it to give it a 10 out of 10. I think you have to watch this movie a second time and base what you already know off the first watching and fill in what you think your interpretation of it is and stuff like that. And then that's why I honestly think after watching it a second time, this movie will be for sure 10 out of 10 for me probably.
Wow.
That's how I feel about it.
Wow. All I know about that movie is that a lot of people fall asleep to it. So that's
I will say this. A lot of people view it as like a benchmark in cinema. Like, oh, if you don't like this movie, you can't understand cinema, or it has a very elitist following behind it,
yes,
and a very pretentious following behind it, which is very, very bad because one, that wasn't Kubrick's intention at all with any of his films, but it's really that it's just really does a disservice to the greatness of the movie in general that people will like tell, oh, you can't like this. If you don't like this movie, you don't like movies in general or something. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Like, you can dislike any movie basically, or like any movie, really, besides like The Last Airbender, you know.
Yeah,
like, okay, this is not good.
You have to not like The Last Airbender.
But 2001: Space Odyssey, it's not. I don't view it as a movie for everybody. I think a lot of people would view it as pretentious. A lot of people would view it as it takes too much time, and it doesn't explain enough. I think that's a very fair opinion. But I personally really like it. Really good movie.
Wow.
Definitely recommend it.
Well, I think we've come to the end.
Yeah.
I think we've come to the end of our first episode. After almost what I believe to be 3 hours.
Wow.
I might have to do more editing than I thought, but I think we're gonna come to a close now. Thank you all for listening. This is the first episode, but still, if you're new here, just make sure to drop a like and subscribe. As of right now, our podcast can only be found on YouTube. Hopefully, in the future, that'll extend out. We'll get it on some other platforms.
Thanks.
As of right now, it is just YouTube. You can find us. Where can we find you?
My film account on Instagram, Lota Reviews, LOTA Reviews, is where you'll find all my movie information, all that stuff, and
they're really good.
I post reviews basically almost every day, if not every day, every other day, and that's where you'll find me. Yeah,
and you can find me at Maceo Movies, Maceo Movies on Instagram. That's MAYSEEOH Movies. I also review movies. They're on Instagram. We often watch the same movies sometimes back to back. We've watched movies together
a couple times.
Maybe we'll have to watch one on the podcast, or
that'd be cool.
Maybe one dedicated to just watching one movie. We talk about it while we're watching it.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. Yes, but that's where you can find us. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe. There will be more. I think next 100%. Week we're planning on talking about the Oscars, some Oscars predictions. We'll be back to talk movies, games, and TV shows. 100%.
I'm sure everyone will agree with our opinions.
Everyone in the world agrees with us. We are so agreeable. Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you guys in the next one.
See ya.
The Cinemaniacs Podcast.